Today's episode is brought to you by Coal Creek Equine, makers of the best equine spa in the industry. If you want your horses to be world champions, you better put them in a Coal Creek. Well, Matt, welcome to Uncut Real Raw. Great to have you here, mate.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, it's been an honor to get to know you and have you on the podcast. I really want to dive into your career and what made you so successful. You've won over $10 million in cutting now. You won the NCHA Futurity once.
Yes.
You were reserve how many times? Once?
Reserve once.
And third 4 times, I believe.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many years do you think you've been going to the Futurity now, in the open Futurity, competing?
Oh, gosh. I got to count back a little bit here.
That's
so,
all right. How old are you now?
55.
55, okay.
So I think my first open Futurity would have been 93 or 4.
How old do you
somewhere
think you
around
would
in
have
there. Oh gosh. So I graduated college in 92.
Okay.
I worked a real job for almost a year.
Right.
And then I started training. So maybe my first big Futurity open horse was probably 93, maybe 94.
Right.
I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit. So 55 years old, you were born into a horse training family, correct?
Correct.
What was your dad's name?
My dad's name was Dick Gaines.
Okay, and he was a professional horse trainer.
Well, he became one.
Okay.
When I was born, and he was vice president of a bank, a small bank there in Byers, Texas, for 8 to 10 years.
Yep.
But trained his own horses and showed as a non-pro. He was a non-pro world champion in 1978. I think in 1980 he turned his non-pro card in, started training horses professionally. And
how old do you think you would have been at that point, Matt?
Oh gosh,
if you had to guess.
He would have been around 40.
Okay.
Probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he turns his non-pro card in, starts training cutting horses full time, or did he have to train everything to make a living?
No, just cutting horses. And he had the stallion Doc Tari.
Right.
And we stood a lot of mares to him there for several years, and we actually had the breeding facility and did all of it there.
So did he own that stud?
Yes.
So,
well, he owned him, and then he bought him as a yearling, trained him, showed him, and owned him, and then he syndicated him once, and then that syndicated him again. And so back in the 80s, for a while they had this deal called the Super Syndicate.
Okay.
And so he was syndicated. Doc Tari was syndicated a second time into the Super Syndicate, which I believe there was 7 stallions. I can't remember who they all were now, but it was Doc Tari, Doc Quixote, Doc Athena, maybe Doc's Hickory might have been one of them, and then there was 2 or 3 others. I don't remember all.
So I don't know much about Doc Tari. What was his claim to fame? What made him so good? How'd your dad get him? What was his deal?
Well, he, as I remember the story, he bought him as a yearling, and he wanted a stud colt by Doc Bar.
Yeah. So he was directly by Doc Bar.
Yes.
Okay.
And he bought him as a yearling, and he brought him home, and his dad saw him, and he said, "Well, what are you gonna do with that ugly son of a bitch? That he's terrible looking, you know." But he said he just, as he grew and matured into, he really actually, when he was a grown horse, he was a pretty nice looking horse, very athletic, very cowy. He just turned into a really good horse. I don't know. As far as a show record, I don't remember what kind of show record he had.
But your dad was the one that trained him.
Yes. Tara and I were actually talking about this the other day. The only time I remember seeing him show was the year my dad won the world in the non-pro in 78. He gave the mare he showed mostly was a mare named Sally Doc. And he gave her a break, and he brought Doc Tari back out and showed him. They had I think it was 5 or 6 days of shows there in Bowie, Texas, just, like weekend type shows. And I think he showed him He was still a non-pro then, so I think he showed him in the open and non-pro all 5 days. I want to say he won both open and non-pro, maybe 4 of the 5 days, and the other day he was second. Like, I mean, he was
a hell of a horse.
He was, especially.
Did you ever get to ride him?
I don't remember ever riding him.
Okay,
no.
so you must have been pretty small at
yeah,
this point.
Yeah, no,
you were
I
a
was
little kid.
So in '78, I was 9.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yep. So at that point, everybody had figured out Doc Bar was the cutting horse sire, or that everybody that secret had got out, correct?
Yeah. I mean, what I remember, like I said, I was a kid, but there was Doc Tari, Doc Quixote. I remember Doc's Prescription was breeding quite a few mares then. Gosh, I'm gonna forget a few that's probably gonna make some people mad. But there were a few. There weren't a lot, and it's not like today.
Yes.
But those were those that I named. Like, and there's probably a couple others I'm not thinking of. Doc's Hickory, I think. But those were the kind of bigger studs in the cutting horse industry at that time.
Do you think all of that took off because Doc Bar was the first sire that the cutting horse industry got that actually put cow into their horses? Like, instead of having to try to manipulate a horse to work a cow, this was the first bloodline that seemed like it wanted to do it. Do you think that's why it took off so successfully?
I don't know for sure, but my guess would be yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
A little older than I am to, probably get a true answer on that, but that would be my guess.
Yeah. So, born into a kind of a horse training family, you went through high school. Did you train horses during high school?
Well, so, when you grow up on a ranch, kids are free labor.
Yes.
So did everything. Clean stalls, turned back, loped horses, got horses ready. When I got a little older, I don't remember for sure what age, probably 10, 11, started riding 2-year-olds, helping break 2-year-olds.
Did you enjoy that? You weren't made to do it.
I loved it.
That's what I'm saying. You weren't made to do it. You enjoyed it.
Well, I was made. Yeah, I was made to do it. Like, I mean, when you're a kid, there was, sure, lots of times I'd rather been screwing off doing something else.
Yeah.
But I really did. Like, I really enjoyed the horses, and I felt like, fairly early on, I felt like I had a talent for it. Like, I had a pretty decent feel for a horse, and was comfortable on a horse, I guess you'd say. But yeah, like I really enjoyed it, and and so I kind of did everything, for a long time, and I don't think I got, probably when I was 11 or so, I started wanting to show, and I don't think I ever got to show till maybe I was 13. Might have been the first time he let me show a horse, and and I kept begging, and and he wouldn't ever tell me why. And, my mom told me, because I'd come home from school, and, how I'd get me a snack, sit around there on the couch, and, I wouldn't go to the barn at that time unless I had to.
Yeah.
And, and she said, well, maybe if you get home from school and go out there and
show
him, show him you want it a little better, then, maybe he'll start letting you show. And that's kind of
how it got started.
That's kind of how it got started.
So your dad was really the first horse mentor you ever had. Like, taught you your horsemanship skills, how to start a colt, that type of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think were some of the best lessons? I believe your dad's passed away now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think were the greatest lessons your dad and tried to instill in you as a kid on horse training, horsemanship, just general horses in general, as at that age and a teenager?
Well, I think number one is just pure work ethic. That it takes work, it takes time.
Yep.
But my dad's strength was, he was really good at teaching a horse to think and be smart about a cow. He got along really good with hotter horses. He just had a way of getting in a horse's mind a little bit, you know,
more so than that time period. 'Cause that time period would have been a little more barbaric, correct?
Yeah,
it would have been a little more heavy-handed to get shit done.
And I think, and he was real close with Shorty Freeman, and I think he learned a lot of what he did from Shorty. And Shorty, I mean, my dad was good at it. Shorty was a master at it.
Right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And but that's what I learned. You know, was exposed to, I guess, a lot as a kid. It was, you know, in that time period, nobody really got them as broke as we do now. It was a lot more just, you know, go hold a cow and, you know, and it's not that they weren't broke, because I mean, you had to, you know, be able to get cut on them and stuff like that, but they weren't as broke as they are today.
Yeah. So when you went through high school, did you know you wanted to be a horse trainer straight away after high school or not?
That's what oh yeah. When I graduated, in fact, I remember telling my dad, when I graduated, I said, why don't, because I didn't really want to go to college. I wanted to train horses, but they were real big, you know, go to college, get a real job, always pushing me that way. And I remember telling my dad, I said, why don't I just stay here and help you train horses? You know, like, I don't really want to go to school. I was good at school, but I just, you know, I wanted to ride horses. And he told me, he said, well, this was in May, end of May, and he said, I tell you what, he said, you can stay here through the summer, but he said, when school starts back up, he said, you're either going to be in school somewhere or have a job somewhere, but you're not going to be living here. Yeah. Yeah. And I said, yes, sir. And at the time I thought, man, what a jerk, you know? Yeah. And, you know, but
pretty wise advice, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, because and later on, a little later on, he told me, he said, look, he said, if you'd have stayed here, he said, you'd always been Dick Gaines' boy. Yeah. You know,
your dad was very smart. You know how many parents cannot let their kids go? Yeah. You know what I mean? You cannot let, a lot. Yeah. Yes. And that's very, very smart what your dad said.
You know, and he told me, he said, you need to go be Matt Gaines. Yeah. You know, find out who that is. Yeah. And he said, you're not going to do that here. Like, you got to go do it yourself. Yeah. And, you know, and as a kid, like, you think that it's kind of hard to hear, but it's probably the best thing he ever did for me.
Damn right. There's no parachute here. Yeah. You don't get the kid, you know, when you kick the kids out, make those some bitches leave. They don't get to come home.
Well, he said, you go 2 years. And he said, then if you want to come back, we'll talk about it. Yeah. But hell, once you get out on your own and you figure out you can make it, who in the hell's going to want to go back home?
That's exactly
you know what I'm saying?
He knew that. He probably knew that deep down inside. Yes. Yeah. That's exactly right. So what happened? You stayed that summer?
I stayed that summer, and I started in the fall. I started school at Texas Tech. Mm-hmm.
So how come you didn't go get a job with another trainer at the end of the summer?
They really wanted me to go to school, and you know,
do you think they thought horse trainers were just a bunch of broke assholes at that point? They couldn't make a living. What were they trying to protect you from?
Well, they just kept, you know, I mean, they always kept telling me, like, look, you know, get an education, have something to fall back on. You know, that was the big deal. Like, you know, hey, like, this is it's not an easy way to make a living, and it wasn't, and it's still not. You know, so, you know, but get a degree, have something you can fall back on, just in case. That's the way they were always pushing me. It wasn't that they, you know, were against me training horses. They just wanted me to have a backup plan. You know, a plan B, you'd say, which, you know, I did it, and, you know, but I've got a college degree. I've never used it.
Mm-hmm. So you finished college?
I finished college.
You went 4 years?
No, I went 5.
You son of a bitch. You went 5 years.
I had a real slow start. So I started school at Texas Tech in the fall, and I started out, I think, with 16 hours. Mm-hmm. By the time the semester was over, I dropped all of them but 9, and I had a 1.75 GPA.
Okay, right. So you weren't that committed to it.
My major at that point was drinking. Drinking and partying.
That's funny.
It was pretty much Wednesday through Sunday. We were drinking and partying. I'd go to class maybe Monday, Tuesday.
Okay, so that's why it took 5 years.
That's why it took 5 years.
I love it. So anytime during this, are you training any horses on the side?
Well,
are you showing? What are you doing here?
No, and so at the end of that semester, and I had a blast at Texas Tech, but yeah. I missed.
Clearly.
Clearly. But, well, it was kind of that, like, it was kind of the first time in my life that I didn't really have any I guess I did have responsibility. I was supposed to be going to class, but, I didn't have horses to take care of.
You didn't have somebody's foot up your ass.
Yes.
You didn't have your dad telling you when to get up, when to shit, when to eat, when to go to bed.
I just kind of went a little ignorant there for a bit. And,
as every young guy does.
But by the end of the semester, like, I didn't have anywhere out there to keep a horse, mm-hmm. and I was really missing it. So anyway, I transferred to Tarleton State University in Stephenville, mm-hmm. and Larry Reeder and my dad were real close friends, and Larry, he'd let me keep a horse or two out there at his place.
Okay.
And, so I'd go to class, I'd go out there and ride, I'd help him, when I could, and and at that point, I got back to where I could show. In fact, at the time when I went to college, financially, my dad wasn't in very good shape. Mm-hmm. Like, had kind of went through some rough years, and he didn't really have the money, to pay for my school. But he had a mare named Tari, really, really good mare, great mare, mm-hmm. and so he gave her to me. And he told me, he said, you use her to get you through school. He said, I don't care if you sell her. I don't care if you show her and you can win enough on her. But he said, whatever you got to do, he said, she's yours. You use her to get you through college. So I showed her there for, I guess, a couple years. And hell, you could go to a show almost every weekend there. And not have to drive more than 2 hours.
In Texas.
From Stephenville when I was in school there. And I could go show her, go to a 3-day weekend show, and I bet I averaged making $2,000 a weekend.
And that was pretty good money back then, correct?
Yeah. So I mean, and she was just that kind of horse. There were a few weekends that.
How'd your dad get her?
He raised her.
He did, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he won the Augusta Futurity owner, I think, in 82 or 83.
Okay. So did she end up paying your way through college?
Yeah. I showed her there for a couple of years. I won enough on her to get through college, and then I sold her to Lex Graham, and I think I sold her for $75,000.
That would have been a lot of money back then?
That'd been quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit of money back then.
And I don't remember how old she was then. At that time, she was probably, I'm going to say maybe 10.
Yeah. So at that point, are you ready to get out of college? What are you doing now?
So at that point when I sold her, so here's the deal. Like, I never thought I was going to graduate college when I started. I was just going because I didn't know what else to do.
But didn't you want to be a horse trainer?
Well, yeah, I did, but I didn't think I could.
Why?
Well, because they told me I couldn't. Or not that I couldn't, but that, I'd just been pressured.
Yes.
My whole life to get a real job. Do cutting as a hobby.
Yes.
Not as a profession.
Yes.
I've just always been pushed that way, and just. From that pressure.
Yes.
And
you don't want to go against your parents.
Yeah.
You're trying to respect your parents and so forth.
So anyway, so finally I woke up one day and I only had another semester basically to go to graduate, and I'm like, well, shit, I might as well go ahead and finish it now. Yeah. And so I graduated. Well, while I was in school, Dennis Moreland, I don't know if you
I know Dennis.
Okay, Cowboy Tack. He was in the process of moving all his manufacturing to Mexico. And so anyway, he had talked to me about when I graduated college, going to work from him. He didn't have any kids, and kind of had a plan laid out, me to go to work for him, learn his business, and eventually one day kind of take it over.
Yeah.
And run it. So when I graduated college, that's what I did for a year.
Okay. Like built tack or sold it? What'd you do?
Did it all.
Did it all.
So we actually, the plant he had was in Musquiz, Mexico. We lived in Eagle Pass.
Okay.
And so kind of had a 2-week rotation. Like we would go in, like all the raw materials would go in. The first week we'd be there, like we'd go in on Sunday. We'd come out on Friday, come back to Eagle Pass, be home, Saturday, go back Sunday, work through Wednesday. Everything we built would ship out Wednesday afternoon. It'd get in there Thursday morning, and then we would pack it all, box it all, pack it all, and ship it to, ship out all the orders from there in Eagle Pass. We'd spend Thursday, Friday, usually getting that done, kind of have Saturday off, and then go back on Sunday and go back, start building
So
stuff
was Dennis
again.
pretty much the main man supplying tack to the cutting horse industry back in those days? Was his business model pretty big back then for that industry, or did he do several different industries?
No, I mean, just horse industry. I mean, but he was making, he made pretty much everything except shaps and saddles.
Right. Okay. So it wasn't just cutting horse industry that he was selling.
No, he was making, like hardware for saddle makers too. The D-rings and all, and bits and spurs and pretty much everything for a horse except for saddles and shaps.
What'd you learn for that? You did that job for a year?
Almost a year.
What'd you take away from that?
That I hated it.
Fair enough. There's nothing wrong with that.
It was interesting, and I also, so when we would go to shows, he'd set up a booth at a lot of the shows. Well, I'd go and work the booth too.
Yeah.
And I really hated that.
Yeah.
That was
because your buddies were out riding horses.
That was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard
for
me to sit in that booth, and and all my buddies were
training horses,
Showing. And to the point to where I was almost embarrassed by it.
Yes. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I mentioned to somebody, it's kind of weird how it all happened. So I mentioned to somebody at one of those shows that, man, I wasn't happy. I really want to try training horses. Well,
and your dad's still training horses by this point. He's still training.
Yeah. And so anyway, I get a phone call one afternoon, and this guy from Mississippi calls me. His name was Chapel Sides. Never heard of this guy. And he says, I hear you want to train horses. And I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, I've got a little place out here, and he said, I've got a bunch of my own horses that I raise, and he said, you can ride some outside horses. He said, my place isn't very nice, which was an understatement.
Okay.
But he offered me, he's going to give me a place to live, guarantee me $2,000 a month. So basically, I would ride outside horses, and if I made $2,000 a month or more off the outside horses, he didn't pay me anything.
Oh, okay, right. So you had to guarantee $2,000.
Yeah, I was guaranteed $2,000. But so anyway, that was my shot to.
Gave you a place to live?
Gave me a place to live. Yeah, and so that was my shot to start training horses. So I remember I called my dad and I told him, I said, look, I'm gonna move to Mississippi and train horses.
What year would this have been, mate?
I'm going to say 90, probably the end of 93.
Yep.
Right in there.
Yep.
I think.
93, okay. So 24 grand a year, that's enough to survive back then?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, he supplied me. It wasn't very nice, but there, you know, he had a truck and trailer. Like I didn't,
Yeah.
you know, like I didn't have to do any of that. Like, I mean,
Were you riding his horses?
I was riding his horses and some outside
So
horses.
was he breeding his own horses? Where was he getting them? Did he have good stock? Did he
No,
not?
he had terrible stock.
Okay.
But he was raising them. He had
Yep.
some, you know, so he had some sons, you know, like sons of Little Peppy, and you know that he
Yeah.
was standing, that he
Yep.
was raising horses at, you know, and like that,
Yeah.
like nothing direct, you know, they wasn't anything direct. They were
And
all
you said he was in Mississippi?
in Mississippi, Coffeyville, Mississippi.
Hot, humid,
Oh my God,
miserable,
miserable.
mosquitoes, bugs, shit.
I mean, like we'd start saddling horses at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you'd be just wringing wet with sweat just from saddling horses. Hey, Clinton, when I get to this place, and I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Like when I get there, this is an old wood barn. Like
Right.
I'm old wood barn,
Right.
and some of them are some, you know, naturally built wood stalls, and then there's some other stalls that are just panels in these.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I don't know. I'm guessing it had been at least 5 years since anybody had cleaned a stall.
You're shitting me.
I spend the first week and a half stripping stalls. And I tell this, and I finally get done. I'm talking about shit like 5 foot deep in these stalls. And so I finally get them stripped down and everything.
You've never seen nothing like this
No,
before, have you?
no,
Like, this is a shock
no.
to the system.
I mean, yes.
You're thinking, what the fuck? I might go back selling tack.
Yeah, like I mean, there's a few people that are still around that know where I started training cutting horses. Most people wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I tell Chappell, I said, we need some shavings. He said, well, what do we need shavings for? And I said, well, we got to bed these stalls down. He said, well, why you clean them out? And I said, Chappell, I said, you want people to send horses here to train. They're not going to send a horse here to train and live in those stalls like they are. I said,
live
this
on their
is
own shit.
You know, I said, we're going to have to make this as nice as we can. I was only charging $400 a month then anyway. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
begging to get something to ride.
Yeah.
And, you know, so anyway, so I get started there. He doesn't have much stock, but I get a couple.
Does he give you shavings or not?
Yeah, I
Okay.
get the shavings, and
Okay.
he kind of gets on board, and you know, and I get a couple decent horses from, you know, some other people to ride, and I think my first. So
How'd you get the word out that you were even taking outside horses?
Well, I mean, so I had a fairly successful non-pro career before. Like I made the world finals in '89 in the non-pro. I won the Non-Pro Futurity in 1990. You know, so I mean, like.
So you're not a newbie. You've got some experience.
Yeah, but when I took that training job, I'd never trained a horse from start to finish.
Okay. Who'd you ride behind then?
Well,
As a non-pro?
my dad.
Okay, your dad trained most of them, and you tuned them.
Now I had started 2-year-olds. I'd worked 3-year-olds at all different stages
Yeah.
of their training. I had worked, you know, show horses. Like I'd done all that stuff, but I never took a horse from start to finish and trained one myself to go. And so I didn't even know for sure if I could.
Yeah.
Like I'd done all the steps.
Parts and steps.
All the parts, but I never took one. And the first thing I had to do was prove to myself that I could even get one trained to cut. So, and so that first year, I had like 6 3-year-olds, I think. And that first year I was there, you know, that was my goal. Just, you know, let's just get some trained that cut.
Who owned those 6 3-year-olds?
Well, Chappell had some, and then there was I can't remember this guy's name right now. He was a really good guy too. I feel bad I can't remember his name, but he was from up here around Arkansas somewhere,
Okay.
I think. And anyway, he sent me a couple horses. And anyway, I got those trained. They had some small futurities there, like out in that part of the country.
Yep.
That next fall, and I made some finals. I think I won maybe won one of them, second and one of the other
So
small
this guy had
ones,
some
and
decent cattle for you to use. Like, tell us about the riding arena.
The cattle situation was pretty good. The riding arena, I mean, no indoor, no covered
So it's all
arena.
outdoor.
I mean, it's an old outdoor
Cutting pen.
round pen.
Round pen.
Yes.
Okay. What you remember?
And he built me a square pen too.
Okay. So
But
it's all outdoors.
It's
stuff.
all outdoors. Yeah.
Okay, but plenty of supply of cattle. You got that part.
Yeah, cattle wasn't a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're doing everything yourself. You're saddling, unsaddling.
Well, I've got some help, but they're not much help.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they saddle, unsaddle, but like, you know, and they could ride, but they'd probably been better off if they hadn't. You know, at the time. And then as we went on, and you know, I kind of got a little better help.
So how'd that first year futurities go for you? Were you impressed with what you did?
Yeah, I thought. I mean, to me, it was successful. Hey, I had 3 or 4 of them that would cut, and I mean, granted they were little small futurities, but you know, I made some finals. I think I was reserve at one, might have won one, and then I went to the Southern Futurity that year, which would at that time that was the biggest futurity that I had been to as a trainer. And if I remember right, I made the finals on one of them there. I didn't win it, but I made the finals, and that was, you know, I mean, and that was the, you know, and there was, you know, even a few people from Texas there too. You know, it wasn't just the locals. I mean, there was a few people from, you know, that from Texas, and you know, more successful trainers, you know, that were there too. So like, you know, I felt like I didn't feel like I was there by any means, but like I thought, all right, now I know I can. And the way I looked at it, I thought, well, all right, I know I can make one cut now. And so I looked back at those horses before I started the next year's, and I'm like, okay, so I know I can make them cut, but now what do I need to do to make them cut and be better? Yeah.
Were you following your dad's cutting program up till then? Whose style were you following?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I knew.
Yes.
You know, I think I'd told you I spent 1 week working with Shorty Freeman. I guess the summer I was 18 years old, but I mean, really at that point, I mean, I had worked around other people. Like my dad was a fairly successful, you know, open trainer and all at the time. So I mean, like I'm in the loop. Like I'm around all the good hands, and you know, and you know, but like as far as actually working and learning from anybody, it was pretty much just my dad. You know, that you know, I'd watch and pick up stuff from people here and there, and you know, so a lot of it at that time was just what I had learned from my dad, and then just trying to figure it out on my own, basically.
So after that first year that you were there and you made some futurity finals and things, what happened the second year? Did you stay on? Did you get better stock?
Did
the guy improve the facility? How'd that job go?
Well, he improved it a little, but you couldn't improve it much. So the second year, I actually I trained. He had one horse there that was a direct son of Little Peppy. He was a big horse, and he wanted him to go to the big futurity, and he was a stud. And I took him to the big futurity. I think that's the only horse I took to the big futurity that year, and I marked a 213 on him. I think both rounds, and I mean, and like he was trained. That's all he was.
Yeah,
he just wasn't a good enough horse.
Just a horse,
But while I'm there at the NCHA futurity that year, Charles Spence comes to me, who I don't know if you know who he is.
No,
but
I don't.
He started Strike King Lure Company, and I'd say maybe a year or so prior to that year's futurity, he had sold it for decent money, and he was in the cutting horse deal, and Pat Earnhardt had been training his horses, and anyway, him and Pat kind of had a falling out, and you know, and they would go to a lot of the local shows there, and by this time, there was a guy named Terry Toole that got me the first good horse I had. And he was an older horse. He was a weekend horse, but that was the first good horse good horse I had to show.
Better than that mare your dad gave you?
No, but the first good horse I had out there as a trainer.
Okay, fair enough.
To show.
Yep.
Like and he, like, that guy, he helped me so much.
So was he a customer while you were at this Mississippi?
He was a customer,
He was a
yes.
customer while you were at this Mississippi
yes.
ranch.
And I mean, I only had like a couple horses for him, but he was
Yeah.
he was a pretty good sized farmer out there, and he was cutting, showed in the
had a little money behind him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so anyway, he came to, and I don't even know how he took a liking to me, but he just did. And he came to me one day and he said, Matt, he said, we got to get you a better horse. Like, you need a good horse to show. And so anyway, I kind of got word out, and Sam Shepard had a gelded, big old bay gelded. His name was Manalina Ray J. So we go down there and try him and buy him. I don't remember. I want to say we get maybe 40,000.
3-year-old, 2-year-old?
No. He's like 5 or 6 or so.
Okay, so he's
like,
trained.
He's trained.
Okay.
He's trained. But like up until like this time, I mean, like I had those. Well, so we bought him the same year I was training those 3-year-old. Those 3-year-olds that I showed at small futurities, and I had a few older horses when I got there that Chapel had that, and I would go to those weekend shows, and they were just terrible. I mean, they were just trashed out, and they just weren't good enough to win anything on. And and Terry, he was the first one to really kind of support me and say, hey, we need to get you a good horse. Like give yourself a chance. And so he went and bought this horse, and we did kick their ass on this horse.
That's awesome.
I
Who
mean,
originally trained him?
I think Sam did.
Did you follow behind him well?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it fit like a glove. It worked.
What'd you like about this horse?
Everything.
Okay.
At that time, he was so much better than anything else I had. I loved everything about him. I mean, he was cowy. He could run, stop, had a lot of reach. He was just an easy, just a really cool.
That's good.
Cool gelding,
So where did Charles, because you mentioned Charles' name in the story,
all right.
and are we going to circle back to him?
Yeah, well, so anyway, so back to Charles. So that year, it would be the second year
that you're in Mississippi.
That I'm in Mississippi. And so I'm at that year's futurity. Charles had been riding with Pat Earnhardt. They had a falling out. So he approached me about going to work for him. He had a place in Collierville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And so I meet with him, and he give me a place to live. He's going to pay me $36,000 a year.
So you get a pay bump.
Yep, and half my winnings, and well, I think the way we did it then was he'd get the entry fee back, and then I'd get after he got the entry fee back, we'd split the profit on each horse, not for the entire show. So anyway, hell, that's a great deal. And like in Charles's he's wanting to buy the right kind of horses and stuff.
Okay, so he's wanting to do this right.
Yes. So anyway, so I meet with him. We finalize our deal. I drive back home as soon as I'm done in the second go round of futurity. I drive home, take that horse home, tell Chapel, hey, look, I'm leaving. I'm going to work for Charles. I'll help you get situated, but I had to fly right back to go to the futurity sale because Charles wanted to buy some horses in the futurity sale. So, never will forget this. We're sitting there, and I'm still really green.
Yeah. Well, you're probably 27, 28 by this point.
Oh, yeah, if that.
Okay.
So we go to this futurity sale.
How did the Mississippi guy take the idea that you?
Oh, he was good with it.
He was good.
Yeah,
Did he
he understood.
Yeah.
He was a good guy.
Did he let you do your job while you were there for the 2 years? He didn't try to micromanage you?
No, I don't think he knew enough to, what I'm saying? To micromanage me, really. He just didn't have good enough horses. But hey, he gave me a shot. He gave me a start.
You're damn right he did.
And at the time, I just wanted to chance.
Yes.
And so he gave me that, and he enabled me to get my foot in the door, and give me the opportunity to get this job with Charles Spence. And anyway, so we're at this futurity sale, and Charles is sitting there with me, and he watches maybe 10 horses sell. He says, all right, bud, I'm hungry. I'm going to go get something to eat. If you see anything you like, buy it. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. I said, I'm not going to spend your money on these horses without you here.
Yeah.
And he said, what the fuck did I hire you for then?
I love it.
He said, you're my trainer. You see something you like, buy it. And I said, well, how much money can I spend? He said, whatever you think they're worth. He said, you see something you like, buy it.
I love it.
So
and you got a shock to the system,
oh,
don't you?
Man.
Because you've been running on a shoestring budget.
Yes.
And your dad would have ran your whole business on a shoestring budget when he was a trainer, correct? So you're scraping every penny to get by. So this is your first big-time customer says, here's an open checkbook. Let's go cause some damage.
Yeah.
So you're still probably trying to just gather up
Oh,
where
man.
you're at.
So I bought...
I love it.
I'm trying to remember. I think I bought three 2-year-olds out of that sale. There was a Hickory mare, a Playboy mare. Maybe I might have just bought 2. I don't know. I remember. And then he had a Gray Starlight mare that Pat Earnhardt had that I got. Anyway, I had 4, so I guess I would have bought 3. I just don't remember what the third one was now. But so anyway, so we get those horses bought. My first year for Charles.
So you moved to Tennessee now?
I moved to Tennessee.
Now, are you married, not married at this point?
Married.
You are married. Any children?
Yeah, I have. So at that point, I'm married and I have a daughter, Lauren. She was born in '92.
Okay.
And then Garrett, my son, was born, I guess, the first summer that I worked for Charles.
Okay, so it's more than just you're taking care of. You're trying to take care of family as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you moved to Tennessee.
Moved to Tennessee.
What was Charles's facility like?
It was pretty, compared to where I was.
Compared to the shithole you're at.
It was, it was good. It was nice. It wasn't a big stall barn, but nice cinder block stall barn. We had a covered arena. I had a...
Oh, you had a covered arena now. You're out of the rain.
Oh, shit, man. I'm big time now. I've got a nice truck and trailer.
It's not 115 degrees at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It wasn't a big facility, but it was a nice facility.
Yeah.
And Charles, you would have loved him. Charles was a great guy, and
good personality.
And he knew he wasn't going to live to be that old. Like, he had already had some heart issues and stuff, and I didn't really know all this at the time, but I learned so much from that guy, and he was, and once we got going, like that first year, those first horses.
So did you get all the horses from Matt falling out?
Yeah, I only remember about 3 of them. There was a stud named Freckles, Fancy.
Okay, so I suppose what I'm getting at, you didn't have a big string that first year.
No, but I had there was 2 or 3 pretty damn good ones.
Okay.
And I was making finals and getting some decent checks. I wasn't winning anything, but in the straight open class, we didn't. Yeah. I don't even think we had a limited class
back
then. It was
you're against the big boys.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
A lot of cattle in Tennessee, cattle supply good.
Yeah. It was.
He let you do your job, didn't micromanage you.
There was some points in there, that he tried to a little bit, and we'd bump head. Charles was a guy that he would push you and push you and push you until you push back. Okay. And he wanted you to push back.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. And especially me. He was a huge mentor to me, just in a lot of things in business, and and he would,
So he tried to educate you about life outside of horses.
And I've always been a pretty private person.
Yeah.
I don't even like talking on the phone to some, in front of people, and he was still kind of getting his business sold and doing business dealings and in everything, and I would be in his office and he would be on these phone calls that I'm not comfortable even sitting in there listening. And I'd get up to leave and he said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna step outside." He said, "No, you need to sit in there and hear this."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And and he was that way with everything. I mean, him and his wife are getting a divorce at the same time. I mean, I listen to all that shit, everything. Like, I don't know that he had anything private from me.
That's awesome. That's interesting.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
and it was an eye-opening experience. But like he truly gave me an opportunity and made me feel like he believed in me.
That's awesome. And that would have been good for your confidence.
Oh,
correct?
man.
Their hearts thunder for us. Their flesh and bone pushed to lift us higher, carry us faster, and stop on a dime. And when they've had a great ride, they deserve a great recovery. They deserve a cold creek. Cold Creek Spas offer state-of-the-art 35-degree aerated saltwater therapy, proven to reduce injury, speed recovery, and keep them at peak performance. Cold Creek Therapeutic Spas. This water is for winners.
Want to get your brand noticed? Advertising opportunities now available, including title sponsorship and episode sponsorships. The Uncut and Real Raw podcast is among the top 1% of podcasts in the nation, with nearly 1 million downloads. Join our winning team and come along for the ride. Email social@uncutandrealraw.com for more information.
See Clinton Anderson and his Down Under horsemanship method live. Order tickets now for the Walkabout Tour in Memphis, Tennessee on March 15th and 16th, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on July 12th and 13th, Waterloo, Iowa on September 6th and 7th, and Buckeye, Arizona on December 13th and 14th. For ticket information, visit downunderhorsemanship.com.
So, Matt, we came back after a break, mate, and the last word you said is, Charles really gave you some confidence. Talk about that. What did he do for you that was a game changer at that part of your career?
Well, when I say, I guess when I say gave me confidence, like I think he had confidence in me, or he made me believe he had confidence in me. I don't know that anybody can give you confidence.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I felt like it wasn't like if I didn't do good at this show, I was going to lose my job kind of deal. Like he
Not
was
that pressure of if you don't win, you're fired.
Well, I mean, he knew the spot I was in. He knew like, look, I was talented.
Yeah.
And he knew that, and he knew I was a young guy and I was still figuring stuff out. And I mean, he understood the spot I was in, but he stood behind me, you know. I mean, like and as you go through this business, even after you won a lot, there's some people that won't stand behind you.
Yes, very much.
You know,
so.
so I mean that's a big deal.
Yeah.
When you're starting out, if you've got somebody you feel like really believes in you,
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. Did he buy good horses for
Yes.
you each year, or did he breed them?
No, we'd buy. Charles wanted to win now.
Right.
Like I said,
Do you think he had a sixth sense? Clearly,
Oh, yeah.
he must have passed on.
Yeah.
Do you think he had a
Yes.
sixth sense? He was
Yes.
his days were
He'd
numbered?
tell me that.
Oh, he did, eh?
He'd say, look, bud, I don't have a long time to do this.
Okay. So
And,
he
you
knew
know,
he had some health
and he's
issues.
like, look, he said, and he, you know, when he sold his business, he gave his kids whatever he
Yeah.
gave them. He said, look, he said, what I got left's mine, and he said, I want to run out of money and air at the same time. Like,
I love it. Run out of money and air at the same time.
Yeah, he
I
said,
love
that's
it.
my goal.
I love it. Yeah.
And, you know, and I mean, like
So every year you go back and buy a few more, correct?
Yeah,
Did you have any assistant trainers working for you? You did it all.
Well, I pretty much did it all. So Clint Allen went to work for me when I was working for Charles, actually while we were still in Tennessee. And but when he first went to work for me, I don't even know that he really knew what a cutting horse was
Yeah.
when he first started.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I mean, you know, he got to learning and coming on, but I don't even think he really worked many horses much until after Charles died.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this then. So that first year in Mississippi, the question was, can I even train a horse start to finish? Can I even teach it to go cut? And you get that done.
Yeah.
After you reevaluate that first year, you know, somewhat average stock, what did you say to yourself after that first year? Okay, great job, Matt. This is what I want to change. Do you remember distinctively each year some big milestones?
I don't remember. I just remember, you know, some minor, some minor adjustments, like maybe, maybe they needed to hold their stop a little longer, or be a little smarter about a cow here or there. I don't remember, like they weren't big, huge changes. It was just,
Well, the change I want to know about that I thought was huge, and maybe I've got this wrong, so I want to say that up front. I always remember you when I first came to the States in 1997, is you were the first guy that made them stop and look in, like turn their head and neck. I remember the Paul and Matt Gaines, DVDs or VHS tapes back in those days, you know what I mean, where everybody else was straight.
Yeah.
And your shit was so different. It was stop, look in, two eyes. And that was so different to everybody.
Yeah.
And at least it looked like it to me from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
And I want to know what well, first of all, let me ask you a question. Was it different to everybody else?
So that, I didn't really even start doing that until, so I worked for Charles for about a year in Tennessee, and then he bought a place in Weatherford, right across the road from Bar H, where Paul and Winston was.
Okay.
And Paul was my idol. I loved his horses. What
was so great about Paul's horses? What would they do?
I just love just the style, and Paul and Winston, they were the first ones to, to really make those horses hold line, and to me they were the ones that started what I kind of went on with, like they, the hold the line and the bend, and that's where I learned how to really get a horse broke to do that kind of stuff was from Paul.
Yeah.
So that's where that, I got started that from picking it up from Paul and trying to learn from him, and then, kind of took it and made it my own, to where it was a good feel to me, and that kind of just developed out of that. I mean, until I started working with Paul, up until that time, I'm just still kind of
doing your dad's program,
doing my dad's program, and trying to figure out, the best I could with what little knowledge I had, but that, all that didn't really get started till we moved to Weatherford.
So what kind of facility did Charles build or buy?
Oh, really nice.
Real nice. So he didn't spare any dollars. He did it right.
Yeah.
Did he consult with you on what to build?
Oh, yeah.
How to build it?
Yeah. I mean, we bought 150 acres raw land, and him and I designed and built everything.
Right. How old do you think Charles would have been at this time, if you had to guess?
50, probably about my age now.
Okay. Is he showing too, or you're?
Oh, yeah.
So he liked to show too.
Oh, yeah.
He enjoyed it as an owner. Did he have much success as an owner showing?
He did pretty damn good, especially for Charles was kind of a heavy set guy. And, But I tell you what, he was a boxer when he was a kid. For a guy his age, and he didn't grow up riding horses.
Yeah, so he's trying to learn as an adult, which is always difficult.
So I mean, but I tell you what, that guy, and I don't know if it came from boxing or what, but his hand-eye coordination, it was unreal. Like, he did a whole lot better than he should have.
Should have at his age.
Yes.
And his
age and his knowledge level of what he was doing, he was an athlete.
Yeah.
And it really helped him.
So when you moved to Texas, what was the game changer in that? Just the facility, the horses?
The
what was
facility
the game
and really access to Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it was, hell,
So you knew who Paul was before that?
Oh, yeah. And I got some help. I got help, from him.
Yeah.
Before that, but I'm in Mississippi and Tennessee, I'm not, and he's in Texas. It's like I'm not getting the opportunity to spend much time working with him. I'm watching him. I'm trying to learn what he's doing, and I'm probably experimenting with some stuff. Yeah. When I'm out there in Tennessee, but it wasn't until I got to Weatherford and I got I'd be over there every damn day if they'd let me. I worked with them a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, because I wanted to learn his style. I wanted to learn, you know, how to get those horses. You know, like I said, my dad was good. Like I knew how to get a horse to think and be cowy and that stuff. But, you know, the way Paul had his horses broke and turning around, I was eat up with trying to learn that.
At that time, was Paul the man at that time in cutting?
He was to me.
Yes. Was he
I would say
a lot?
Yes. Him and Winston both. They were just different.
Where'd they get this shit from?
They're
from Canada.
Know.
Who taught them?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Did the two brothers train a lot the same or not?
So, the same, I'm going to say they had the same basic theory. Like they both, you know, stayed with the cow, hold the line. But to watch Paul work and to watch Winston work, night and day different.
Okay. So they're same but different in
yes.
some ways. Okay. So Paul, and this is back in the days when, has Paul won the Futurity on CD Alina?
Winston won the Futurity on CD Alina.
Okay, sorry.
Paul won the Futurity on Playboy McRae, but I don't remember what year that was.
Okay, but Paul's at the peak of his career.
Yeah.
He's rocking and rolling.
Yeah, he's kicking
and you're
ass.
still you're an
yes.
up-and-coming trainer,
yes.
wanting to beat the best and be around the best,
yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. So fate has it, you guys buy this ranch beside him.
Well, it wasn't fate. Charles did that on purpose.
Oh, he knew he was an idol of yours
yes.
and somebody you wanted to be around.
He wanted me there too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
This guy was pivotal, wasn't
Yeah,
he? This guy was extremely important to your career.
Very.
So what happened once you moved to Texas? What happened?
You know, just kind of, you know, we bought, like I said, Charles was buying horses every year, like we'd buy 2-year-olds.
Like you're getting bigger.
Oh, yeah.
You're buying more horses.
We're buying more
Clint
horses.
Allen working for you.
Yeah.
Clint's coming along well.
We're buying more horses. In fact, probably by the time we get to Texas, I've got Charles convinced that, you know, he like for the Futurity, he needs 2 horses, and I need. Well, this would have been maybe the second year we're in Texas. I get him convinced of this, but like somewhere along, I get him convinced that like, look, you need 2 horses that are yours, and I need 2 horses that are mine, because we were trying to share horses up until then, you know, and we'd make the finals, but man, by the time you got to the finals, especially in the Open, you know, most of those guys are showing horses that they're the only ones showing them.
Yeah.
So, you know, they've had less runs, and all the runs have been good runs.
Yeah, good tuning.
You know, so where, you know, when you're sharing those horses, you know,
they
people,
just get to cheat.
It's harder.
Yeah,
it's harder.
it's
you know,
hard,
it's harder to keep them healthy. It's harder to keep them correct. It's harder to keep them fresh. And,
yeah.
You know, so I get him convinced that we need to have 2 apiece, and so, but I got to go find them.
Mm-hmm.
So I go buy the 4 best ones I can find.
2-year-olds or yearlings?
2-year-olds.
Okay.
And actually one of them I didn't get bought till it was 3. Mm-hmm. Shannon Hall had it, and but I try to make sure I get 4 that are open quality, and I have him. He comes like a month before the Futurity, and
so he's still living in Tennessee.
He's back and forth, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, he's about half the time each place.
Yep.
So anyway, he comes in, and I have him work all 4 of our Futurity horses. I said, you pick the 2 you want to show, and I'll show the other 2. Like I was that confident in. Like
I was just going to say that took some balls.
Well,
because you're not trying to manipulate what he picks.
Well, because Charles made it clear, like the most important thing was that he won.
You're damn right. The
second,
guy that writes the check.
Like I was the second.
Yes.
You know, he wanted me to win, but the most important thing was that he won.
And to me, Matt, to be perfectly blunt with you, that's something I think some trainers forget sometimes. The guy that's writing the check is the one you better keep happy.
Right.
So if he can write the check and win, and you're a close second, that ain't bad either, is it?
No.
You know what I mean? I think sometimes trainers can forget whoever's name's on the gate and whoever's signing the check wins.
Yes.
Whoever's got more money wins.
Yes.
So it seems like you very much understood that and wanted him to be successful.
Well, he made it clear.
Yeah.
I mean,
he just point blank said it.
Yeah.
There was no messing
Charles
around.
was not a beat around the bush guy.
I love it.
Like
I love
he
it.
was.
That's why you know we'd get along
yeah,
just fine.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that
So he rides all 4. What happens?
He picks the 2 he wants to show. I show the other 2. Trying to think what year. So that would have been the first year I was 3rd at the Futurity.
Oh, truly. Do you remember the horse's name?
Yep. She's a stylish babe. That was the mare I bought from Shannon Hall. I think I bought her the summer of her 3-year-old year.
Yep.
She was a stylish oak mare.
Yep.
And Charles made the non-pro finals. So that would have been, so he would have showed Jack Ruby that year. And so I had, she's a stylish babe, Style of Bar, Jack Ruby. I can't remember what the fourth one was. But anyway, I think he made the non-pro finals, and I was third. That's the first year I was third at the Futurity.
Is that the first year you made the open finals?
No, I made the open finals on. So I told you that when I went to work for Charles, and he had me buy the 2-year-olds. So 2 of those 2-year-olds I bought the next year, like when they went to the Futurity, I made the finals on both the ones I bought for him.
Both.
So
you're only allowed to show 2.
Yes.
So you make 2 to your first open finals.
Yeah.
Man, that's got to be a shot of confidence for you. Seriously,
Yeah,
because you can only show 2.
Yeah.
So to get 2 in a finals, that's hard in the cutting Futurity, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
It's hard enough to get 1.
Yeah.
Let alone 2.
Yeah. No, I mean it.
And through 3 go-rounds.
Yeah. Yeah. By this point, I mean, yeah, so I make the finals on both those horses. And I mean, the confidence is building all the time, but I'm at this point, like, I'm starting to get to where I'm making finals everywhere I go.
Yeah.
But I'm not winning.
Yeah.
I'm making finals, but I'm not winning.
Okay.
So I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay. Starting to bother you?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which being third at Futurity, that was a big deal. Like, that's definitely a big deal to me. I mean, that's the biggest check I'd ever won.
Yes.
At that time. So, so I mean, I'm competing with the guys, but I'm not beating them yet.
Yeah.
And and I'm trying to figure that out. So it all happens in steps, right?
Of course
Like
it does. Yeah.
And so I'd reached that step to where I was getting in finals, and you got to get in finals to have a chance to win, but I wasn't winning. Mm-hmm. So now I'm trying to figure out. So how do I win? How do I beat these guys? So that's kind of the next hurdle.
Does Charles let you take in any outside horses or only his horses?
Originally, it was just his horses.
Yeah.
And then he wanted to kind of, help with some of the expenses, so we took a limited number of outside horses, but he didn't want me to show any of the outside horses.
Okay, well, why the fuck would anybody send you a horse if you don't get to show it?
Exactly. So I had a few guys that were just, decent non-pro riders that would send horses there to train.
Tune up.
And Charles, like, he was okay if I'd go show him at a small show or something to get a run on him.
But he didn't want you riding.
He didn't want me to beat one of his horses on somebody else's horse.
And I can somewhat understand that. He's writing the check. He's fitting the whole bill. Was he happy that you got third in the Futurity? Was he tickled pink?
Oh,
Was he good boy? You did great.
Yeah.
Let's team Matt. Yeah.
And Charles was happy, but like, so he was a competitive bass fisherman.
Yeah.
Like, before he started Strike King Luring, so I mean, he competed as a fisherman, and and he was big on it wasn't like he wanted to win. Mm-hmm. It wasn't not just do good. He wanted to win.
So there was some pressure there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
In the early years, it doesn't sound like there was that much pressure.
There's always some.
Yeah.
But he was always, like I said, he was always pushing you.
Yeah.
But like, when you did good like that, he was good to reward you too.
Yeah, that a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that year, third at the Futurity, what happens then?
Oh gosh, you're testing.
How many years did you work for Charles then?
So Charles died in ’99.
How'd he die?
Heart attack.
Okay.
In Silverado Arena.
Oh, in the arena?
Yeah.
Surely, you're shitting me.
He showed a mare that I'd bought for him. Her name was Billy Shortlina, and I think at this time she was probably 5 or so, maybe. And they had a big cutting over there, and my daughter had a dance recital in Dallas, and I had showed in the in the open and I think and showed some in the novice, and he was going to show this mare in the novice non-pro, and I remember he was up in you've been to Silverado, right? The up where they have the
The bar and everything.
Bar and all that. So he was up there, and I told him, I said, look, Charles, I said, I'm going to have to leave before you show. Like, you know, I make sure, like, you know, everything's good. Like, your horse is ready. Everything's good. He said, yeah, buddy. He said, everything's good. He said, go. And I was, Paul and Julie Hansma, their daughters were a little younger, but they were going, they had to go to the same dance recital. So I was riding with them into Fort Worth to go to this recital, and we get we get halfway to Fort Worth. I get a phone call that he had a heart attack, and
on his horse.
So he made his run. He marked 75, I think, 75 or 76.
That's awesome.
He's walking out. They said he like crossed the timeline walking out and just like fell over.
Even though it was sad, how poetic's that?
Yes.
Seriously,
Yeah.
It's sad, but I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but what better way to go?
Oh, yeah.
This man was
Yeah.
a competitor.
Yeah.
Did he win that class, do you remember?
I'm pretty sure he did. I don't remember for
Shit.
sure, but I'm pretty sure he did.
That's awesome. To
Yeah.
win a class, cross the finish line,
Yeah.
die, and be a winner with that score, that's pretty poetic.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of ways in life we can
Oh,
go,
yeah.
and there's a lot worse ways than that.
Yeah.
So you get the call, you're pretty shocked.
Yeah, you know, and at the time, you know, I mean, they're saying, look, he's had a bad heart attack, but they're not saying he's dead yet. You know,
Truly. So he's not dead just yet. The ambulance has got him.
The first thing is they say, well, they're sending him to Fort Worth, like care flight or whatever. So we're all right. Well, we're headed that way anyway.
We'll meet you there.
Well, and then we get another call. No, they're sending him to Weatherford. So we turn around, and by the time we get to the hospital there in Weatherford, he's dead. Like, they're done. They're done working on him. He's done.
Yeah. So at that point, what happens to the whole horse operation? Is the wife sell up? What happens? Was the wife supportive of cutting or not really?
No, not really.
That's usually the way it is.
No, it was a complete shit show.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the roughest. Going through that was one of the roughest times really in my life, because, you know, Charles was like, he was like having another father.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, we're tied.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, so it's you know, you're dealing with, you know, losing a guy you love, and and you know, and selling all these horses.
Was she pretty? I'll just fucking cut to the chase. Fuck it. Was she pretty heartless about it? Like, we're selling up, boys, or did she say, "Hey, we're going to keep this going for a year or two"?
No,
or it was pretty much, "Hey,
like he
the
died.
game's up."
He died in May, and the sale was like right around now in July.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I mean,
it was quick.
It was quick.
She wasn't fucking around.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Did you have a hunch that would go that way over all those years? She wasn't behind the cutting horses?
Yeah.
You knew it would go that way, yeah.
Silver Spurs Equine. Our stallion roster consists of over 30 of the industry's top performers and producers, including such greats as Wimpy's Little Step, A Sparkling Vintage, SG Frozen Enterprise, Shiner's Voodoo Doctor, and more. At locations in Scottsdale, Arizona and Purcell, Oklahoma, we raise over 100 foals each year and sell each of them to the public at affordable prices. We want to see you win on a Silver Spurs horse. And to prove it, we've developed the $1 Million Challenge, our very own international incentive program that awards champions of all levels, open and non-pro, at the NRHA Futurity, the NRHA Derby, including 4-year-old stakes and novice horse divisions, the European Futurity, the German Breeders' Futurity, the Austrian Reining Futurity, the Italian Reining Futurity, the Guadalajara Classic Futurity and Derby. So breed to one of our stallions to create your dream cross with your mare, or hurry to silverspurssalehorses.com to view our inventory of available prospects. Ride on.
When it comes to horse trailers, the only brand that I use from now on is Elite. I've had every other brand over the last 25 years, and honestly, the one I keep coming back to is Elite, because they last, they don't break, and they're heavy duty. Yes, are they a little more expensive? Absolutely. But you get what you pay for. If you want cheap, you're going to get cheap. If you want something well built, it's going to cost a little more money. The dealer that I use now, Jason Deschamps, out of Oklahoma, the last 4 trailers I bought, I've price shopped him with 5 other dealers. He has absolutely smoked him on price. Has not even got close to Jason's price. I even bid his trailers out against cheaper brands that I know are going to be a cheaper trailer. he still beat their prices. So if you're looking for a new Elite trailer, or you want to trade a trailer or buy a used one, get a hold of Jason, call him, text him. What's it worth the phone call? I promise you there will not be a dealer in the country that will beat his price. Mention that you watched the Uncut Real Raw podcast for an additional savings.
Are you tired of worrying about the safety and comfort of your horses and livestock while you're on the road? Look no further than Oklahoma Trailer Ranch, the premier choice for hauling your precious cargo with unmatched reliability. Don't settle for anything less than the best when it comes to your trailers. For all your horse trailer needs, stock trailers, living quarters, contact Jason Ducharme at the Oklahoma Trailer Ranch, where we sell Elite, Logan, and Galleon products for any of your hauling needs. Mention Clinton's Uncut Real and Raw podcast and get the very best pricing. Jason will not be undersold by any dealer. Call him now at 248-459-2010. And remember, Jason Ducharme will not be undersold.
You know, and it's kind of funny, like, and Charles, he always told me that, you know, he's like, look, buddy, he said, don't worry, if anything happens to me, he said, you'll get this place, and, you know, and, well, of course, like, he never actually changed that in his will, and, you know, and I think he truly intended to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he wasn't a guy like, you know, but I knew when he died, like, they were going to be done, because his two boys, neither one of them were interested in it.
Those type of jobs like that, those kind of guys, when the family's not into it, they almost resent the money that's being spent on it.
Yes,
because
for sure.
in their mind, it's their money.
Yes.
Because when he dies, they get the inheritance.
Yes.
So they're kind of pissy at you.
Yes.
They're pissy at the horse guy buying all the horses. The family, if they're not into horses, you're the arsehole. So I bet when he died, they got the first opportunity they got to can your ass, sell the horses, and chip in, correct?
Now what we sell all the horses, and I'm thinking,
what sale did you put them in?
We had a sale right there on the ranch.
Okay, production sale. Yeah, right there and there.
Like everything, and we sold them right there, and I, you know, so, and I'd made a deal, like, so I leased the place from them
after the production sale.
After the sale, so like I stayed there and kept training horses for about 2 years.
Now just for the public, correct?
Just for the public,
right?
You know, but. You know, so I'm thinking when we have the sale, well, you know, like, surely I'll get, because I'd had a lot of success on some of these horses, and, you know, and I'm thinking, well, surely I'll get to keep, you know, maybe at least half of these.
Some of these people will buy them and leave them with you.
And I think when it was all said and done, I kept 2.
Truly. So you had to start again.
And we lost. I had a pickup. I didn't have a horse trailer. I didn't have shit.
You're this far away from homeless.
We sold horse trailers. We sold
bits, bridles,
everything,
polos. You fucking
everything. Everything went. And I'm gonna tell you something. When you sit there and you watch everything you've worked, hard on and develop, and you watch it all go out the gate,
it's a little emotional. When I did that estate sale in Stephenville, it snuck up on me a little bit. I'm going to act like a pussy now, but when I had the estate sale and I auctioned everything off, I wanted it to be sold, and it had to be sold, and I wanted to retire. But I remember during the sale, I had to go around the back of the barn. I got a little teary-eyed. Like, it was a little emotional. This is my fucking life. I spent 11 years on that ranch building that sumbitch, and it's all getting sold. And I didn't think I'd shed a tear over it, but I had to go around the back of the barn once and have a little cry, because it's like, fuck me, like, this is real. This shit's gone. So I can very much feel that.
You know, it was hard, but like, and I'm gonna take you back a little bit to a story, but like, so, but I don't know where I got this, when I got this way, but like, it pissed me off. Like, I mean, it pissed me off that
everything was being sold?
Well, not that everything's being sold, but it really kind of pissed me off that everything that sold was leaving. Like,
you put your heart and soul into it.
I did a good job on these horses.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm thinking, well, surely, like,
They'll leave him with the trainer.
Yeah, and and I think, like I said, I think there was only a couple that I can think of that did, and and it really pissed me off. But that made me work even fucking harder.
Yeah.
And
well, you kind of had to, Matt, didn't you? Because you had to rebuild. You don't have a show string now.
But I guess I felt like I had built a pretty good reputation by now, and then and then we have that sale, and pretty much everything leaves and goes to other trainers, and I'm like, well, shit, so all these people still think all these other guys are better than me, kind of deal.
It's
and
fucking with your head a little bit.
Yeah, well, but that's the way I used it.
Yes.
To push me to even do better, and that's like so to go back when I first decided I was going to train horses. So I went before I even got moved to Mississippi. They were having a show in Abilene, an aged event, and I rode a few horses for my dad there at that show. I showed 3 or 4 for him there. And Greg Welch, which he helped like as a kid and stuff, and when I showed in the non-pro, like he helped me, he turned back for me and stuff, and he was like he liked to jack with him. Like we had a good reputation, like, and or not reputation, but relationship. And I never will forget. I walk up the stairs there the first day, and I run into him. He says, "Hey," he said, "You really turn your non-pro card in?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Why in the hell would you do that?" And I said, "Well, Greg," I said, I really, like, I want to train horses. I don't have the money. I can't afford to do it as a non-pro.
Yeah.
And I said, and I want to know if I'm good enough to compete with you guys and make it work. And he looked me square in the face and he says, "You're not, and you never will be."
Oh, truly?
And I thought, "You old son of a bitch, I'll show you." I mean, it pissed me off.
So he didn't fuck around. He just pretty much right to your face.
Right there. And I don't, and I got to looking back at that, like, and I don't... I think he maybe really did feel that way, but then there's a part of me that makes me wonder, too, if maybe he knew...
To do it deliberately.
Yeah. Because, I mean, and that was the initial fire.
To prove him wrong.
That, like, when he told me that, I'm like... I mean, I had a fire laying under my ass now. Like, I'm like, you know what?
Fuck you. Yeah, I'm coming. There's nothing like... I always joke about me. The best way to get me to do something is just tell me I can't do it.
Yeah.
If you want me to do something, just tell me I can't do it, and I'll do it. Even if I don't want to do it, I'm going to do it anyway, because you said I couldn't do it.
But I kind of like, and it's hard to, like, when I started even having more success and stuff, like I would find little failures or little things or something like that to, and I would take them personal to, because like like I always said, like, failure will breed success, and then too much success will breed failure.
Say that one more time.
Failure will breed success if you're the right-minded kind of person.
Because it makes you hungry.
It makes you hungry.
And you dig deeper.
But then too much success will lead to failure.
Because you get lazy.
Get
compliant.
Yes. So like
you start out on your own again after Charles dies, and was it hard to get a barn full of horses?
It took a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it.
Is Clint still working for you, Clint Allen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you leased the facility. Did you have any trouble leasing the facility? Did they want to sell the whole place?
No. So I don't remember. I don't remember now how exactly So here's what so I got to work out of the facility, but I paid all the expenses and kept it up.
Yeah. Just treat it like
and all that. Treat it like it's mine. They didn't. I didn't pay rent on it, but I kept because they had it for sale. It was on the market.
Okay.
And it took, I think a year and a half or so before it sold. And so like I had a pretty good deal, except it was like this isn't an expensive place to run. Like it was probably, $40,000 to $50,000 a month. Just paying all the bills.
Absolutely. People underestimate, I remember when I sold the ranch in Stephenville, I went from 250 acres down to 15. And people say, how'd you go from 250 acres down to 15? I'm like, real fucking easy.
Yeah.
Real easy. One guy takes care of the whole place.
Yeah.
That ranch in Stephenville, without an animal on it, I'm talking about just the grass, mowing the grass, fertilizer, taxes, and insurance. No light bill, no electric, not a one animal on it. Cost me $263,000 a year.
Yeah.
Just for lawn care, fertilizer, taxes, and insurance.
Yep.
People have no idea what those horse ranches cost.
Oh,
so
man.
when I went from that down to 15 acres, I was like, yep, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
More's not better. That was my first shock, is more's not better. Bigger's not better.
Yeah.
So you got a little taste of paying some bills there, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's probably a little shock to the system, no disrespect, but you probably haven't seen that side of the ranch before.
No,
Because
no,
for 10, 15 years by now, how old are you at this point? Do you remember, Matt?
So, I guess I'd have been 30 when he died.
Yeah. So for basically 10 years, you haven't had to realize what it costs to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
I don't think most of assistant horse trainers have any fucking idea.
Yeah.
They have no idea. They think feed's this much and shaving's this much. Taxes, insurance. That old ranch of mine in Stephenville, the taxes were $42,000 a year.
Yeah.
Just taxes on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think young trainers or assistants have any idea. They all think paying board's bad. I tell you what, we've had this discussion privately. If both of us ever sold our ranches again, we'd never go build another one. We'd just go board somewhere.
Yes.
I would never build another. This is the
Yeah.
third ranch I've ever built. I promise you, I won't build a fourth one.
Yeah.
I'll just go board somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I know the expenses that go into these particular places. So after it gets sold, are you homeless? What are you doing now?
Well, no, because I lived there on the place.
I know, but what I'm saying is when the lady sold the ranch,
Oh,
where'd
well,
you have
so,
to go?
all right, so when she sold the ranch, Jim Van Gilder bought it.
Okay, he's a new guy in the cutting world?
New guy in the cutting world. And so, and he originally, he wanted to hire me, you know, and work for him kind of like I did.
After Charles?
Yes, kind of like I did for Charles. Like he bought the place, you know, and he kind of wanted to hire me just, you know, and kind of have a similar deal.
Yeah.
Well, by this time, so like I said, it took a year and a half to 2 years for it sold. Well, by this time, I'd built up a pretty good clientele, and I wasn't having to share horses, and and now I'm winning. And,
are you still having to take non-pros on at this point?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I've got a bunch of non-pros.
Okay, right.
I mean, I've got a bunch of customers. Yeah. I don't remember, man. You know, I'm 50 horses in training. Like it's running. I'm making money. We're doing good. We're winning, and I'm a little reluctant to go back to that situation. And plus, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know Jim at all. I didn't know what his financial situation.
So he didn't come from the cutting horse world. He was a new guy.
Yes.
Brand new into the business.
Yes.
Okay, so you're a little leery.
Yeah. Well, and he had the same deal. Like he had just sold. He had a company. He had just sold it. You know, and he wanted to cut and. You know, and he wanted to have a, kind of a private deal, kind of like Charles had with me, and and I for two reasons. One, myself, like I was really enjoying the situation I had now because I'd been in that other situation for a good while, and like I said, now I'm not having to share any horses really, and I've got a bunch of clients and things are going good.
You can run things exactly the way you want.
Yeah, and so I'm a little reluctant. And I'm like, look, Jim, like let's do it let's do it like this for a while. Like I'll ride, like I train, 4 or 5 horses a month for him for free to use the facility and keep running my deal out of there and all that. And I said, let's do it like that, for 2 reasons. One, I wasn't really ready to get back in that situation. And also 2, like I wasn't sure that he understood how much it was going to actually cost
to
him
play this game,
to do it the way he wanted to do it. So I was trying to protect him too. I was really trying to protect both of us.
Yes, that's true.
And and finally, and I guess I did that for a year or so with him, so anyway, and he really wanted so he went and hired Roger Wagner, and Roger went to work for him, and And, you know, when they had their own deal and had great success with Roger.
So did you still stay at that facility?
At that time, I bought it.
Okay, so you bought the facility from him.
Yes.
He goes and hired Roger Wagner as his main trainer.
Yep.
Because obviously that's what he wanted.
That's what he wanted.
Did he want the control of having his own trainer? What was the big hot button? What did he not like about
attention?
The attention, right?
The attention.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
attention. You know, he wanted that hands-on attention, which I mean, rightfully so. If
he's writing the check.
Yeah, if you can afford it, it's the
Yeah.
best way to do it.
Yes.
Gosh, it's expensive. I mean, it's expensive to do it that way.
Yes, it is. Okay. So you get to buy the place from him. Was that a big step for you? Big
Huge.
risk, you know?
Huge.
I remember the first time I signed a loan for $1 million, about shit down my leg.
Yeah.
I was nervous as hell. I'm signing the fucking loan document for $1 million, okay? Nervous as hell. You know, by this stage, I'm probably 24. You know what I mean? I'm nervous. Later on, I signed a lot bigger loans than that.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal to me to borrow $1 million to go build a horse facility. You know what I mean? So I'm asking you how it felt to be on, because this is the first time your nuts are on the line.
Yeah.
You actually have to put your money down and do this, correct?
Yeah. And when I did it, I thought there's no way I can make this work.
Truly.
But I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
my options,
Yeah.
I didn't have much options.
Yeah, because I suppose, especially when you got 50 horses in training, there's not a lot of horse facilities you can go to and just move straight into.
And I buy it for $1.5 million.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of damn money.
You're damn right it is. Yeah.
I mean,
what year would this have been?
Charles died 99, so like probably 2001.
Yeah. So a shit ton of money for you to be on the line for.
Oh yeah.
So you do it?
Yeah, I don't even know how I got it done now. I don't even know how.
There's a banker somewhere that took a chance on you.
Yeah, yeah, and bought it and owned it for what? I guess I owned it from then until what year did we sell it? 2000.
You can talk up, Tara. Don't worry about it.
2017.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Or I guess I actually got it sold 2019. So yeah, I mean I had it for close to 20 years.
What'd you learn about that? Owning your own facility, pros and cons, you know, because there's a lot of young trainers. There's a lot of young trainers right now listening, Matt, that are leasing stalls. They're saying, I want to buy my own place. I want you to tell these young trainers the pros and cons. You're not going to push them either way, but tell them what you think.
I think it's the best investment a young trainer can make.
Okay.
Because it was for me anyway in the long run, and it was hard to do, but it's about the only way you're going to save money.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I sold that place, when it's all said and done, you know, we probably cleared close to $1 million on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so that was.
And you got to make a living out of it.
Yes.
For how many years did you say?
Close 18 or so.
18, yeah.
You know, so I mean, like, without that, if I just lease and stalls, you know what I'm saying? I don't know that you know, like, so I get, if you can afford to do it and you can make it work, it's about the only retirement plan a horse trainer has.
I'm going to put a different spin on it. I'm not going to say you're wrong, so I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Okay. I love real estate. I've made a lot of money in real estate. I don't particularly think horse ranches are the best place to put real estate.
I would agree with
Meaning this. Look, I can just tell you right now, okay, it costs me $750 a month to keep a horse. And that's when you add up feed, shavings, insurance, taxes, maintenance, etc. That's minimum $750. A lot of horse trainers just think it's the feed and the shavings and the Mexican guy cleaning the stall. That's the beginning of it.
Yeah.
The tractor, the sand, the insurance, the taxes, the light bill, there's so much more shit out there. So a lot of trainers have an idea of, oh, well, I'm giving all this money away on board. I could put that in my own place. I don't think you will. When you add up all the other things, tractor, sand, drag, light bill, insurance, taxes, there's a lot of money disappears. Well, now, I believe in real estate.
Right.
I'd rather them go buy rental homes. I'd rather them go invest in real estate that makes money.
Well, but the problem is, there's not that, or maybe there's more now. I don't know, but I mean, there's only so many places you can go rent too.
And the other problem with boarding is most landlords want to be a cheap motherfuckers. They won't give the best hay. They won't give enough shavings. They try to cut corners everywhere. So I'm not saying it's easy by any means. But if you can find the right facility where they'll feed your horses right, take good care of them, do the sand right in the arena, drag it right, keep it up. If you've got a good deal, don't screw that up.
Well, and I mean, like I told you, now, the last thing I'd want to do is buy another horse training facility.
Me and you are at the tail end of our career. It's no disrespect, but we're at a point where we're slowing down, not speeding up.
Not speeding up.
So,
I mean, there's also a reason I sold it when I did, too.
Yes, that's right, because you wanted to slow down.
Well, yeah, because, I was tired of riding the amount of horses it took to keep everything paid for.
Yes, that's exactly. You're on a hamster wheel, aren't you? Absolutely, you're on a hamster wheel. So basically now it sounds like the next basically 18 years, you're training for the public, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on in this 18-year period? What were some of the best lessons you learned? Especially, I want to talk about horse training. You've mentioned to me off camera, because for the last year and a half, you've been teaching me the cutting, okay? And I've got to have a lot of great conversations with you. And one of the ones that I want you to talk about now, if you wouldn't mind, it really resonated with me because I don't think a lot of people that think that somebody like you that won $10 million ever has a bad day, or somebody won $10 million that ever has self-doubt. And you said to me this morning, I would like you to bring it up now if you wouldn't mind, there were several different stages of your career where you get down in the dumps, you think you can't train one, your confidence is in the shitter, and how you get out of that. And what made you get out of it? And because I think a lot of young people looking into it say, how can this guy have a bad day? How can this guy have a bad year? You know what I mean? He's won that much money. It's got to be clean sailing, and it's anything but that. And that's why we call it Uncut and Real Raw, because this is the shit that people want to know about. So tell us about that, if you wouldn't mind, about times when you've got down on yourself and how you got out of those things.
Well, I'll say this, and Tara's sitting over there, and there's probably no telling how many times I've told her shit. I just need to quit and go sell cars or something. Like I don't know why, but I can't do this anymore. Like I've just lost it, you know. And and I don't know if every trainer has had that experience, but I mean, probably in my career, it's happened to me at least 10 times.
Right.
And
were there pivotal moments that got you into those dark spots?
I don't
like you went to the futurity and didn't make the finals. You
know
what I mean? Like, was there a customer that jerked out 10 horses out of your barn and you're back to square one again?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I can't remember every instance what it was, but it's always something like that. Yeah. It's always, you have a shitty futurity, and a lot of times, a lot of it is, you just don't have as good of horses as you had before. But when once you get to that point to where you're winning, you think you're supposed to be winning regardless.
All the time.
Yeah. And and whether you have the horsepower or not, and if you're not winning, then you're not doing your job. Mm-hmm. And so I mean that was some of it. Some of it was customers screwing with your head. Some of it, was just, some of it was just getting off in the ditch. Getting away from, and part of my problem too is I had a really bad car wreck when I was 15.
Okay, tell me about that.
And so I was running an errand for my mom, picking up some stuff. We were getting ready to go to a horse show, and I was 15 years old. Todd Drummond, and I just had my permit. Todd Drummond was spending the summer with us, and he was 18, and we were getting up, working horses early, and starting at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, working horses till noon, and building fence in the afternoon, and so, I mean, we're putting in some long hours, and so we run to town to pick up some cleaning and stuff from my mom, and you know, driving, and like I nodded off.
What time of day was it?
Oh, I don't know, 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
And you know how you do, like, and
Yep.
And when I come back to, I'm straddled guardrail, and I drive off, I don't know, probably somewhere around 65, 70 miles an hour in between 2 overpasses.
Oh, truly.
And it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Todd died,
Yeah.
killed him. That,
Yeah.
And you know,
The car catch on fire.
Oh yeah. I mean, like it was a rough time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, dealing with that.
How'd you get out of the car?
When everything quit rolling, I fell out of it.
Oh, you did, eh?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I thought I was fine. I got up to walk away, and you know, my leg's like rubber, my right leg.
Yeah.
You know. And so anyway, so several surgeries, and I didn't know this at the time, but later on found out. I mean, they come real close to cutting my leg off.
Yeah.
Because, you know, but anyway, several surgeries, got through that. But anyway, from all that, I ended up with avascular necrosis in my hip and had to have a hip replacement when I was 30. I did that in 2004. So I guess I was, I don't know, 35
Yeah.
or something like that. And so anyway, so there was a time there where my hip got so bad I just
Physically
couldn't
do your
do
job.
some of the things that I had been doing.
Yeah.
And then even after I had the surgery, got the hip replaced, like, you know, it took me a long time to find some of that back.
Yeah.
And it just, you know, and it changed, it just changed the way I could do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it was I had to find a new way, and, you know, and try to find my way back in some areas. And, you know, and that was part of, you know, that was part of one of the times I got off in a ditch. And, you know, and I mean, and like, here's the thing, though, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to have those times.
Yeah.
And I think what I told you, you know, what I finally learned after going through this 9, 10, 11, however many times it was, when I would finally, like, just get still and think about it and tell myself, all right, look, just, like, let's just strip everything down. Let's get back to, let's make this as simple as we can make it.
Get back to basics.
And I would go back and I would just concentrate on, every time I worked horse, it would stay even with the cow, make sure cow's pulling me through a turn. Like, that was my sole focus. Mm-hmm. And hell, almost every time in a week, everything's getting back to feeling good again.
Yeah.
And finally, after 10, 11 times, I'm like, of going through all that shit, I'm like, why don't you just focus on that all the time, and let's don't get so far off in the ditch.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that's been the one thing that's really helped. Now, of course, there's things that we, you know, that I do, you know, within that. But I've learned with cutting, if you can keep your position and timing on a cow good, and then so what I'm saying is stay even with the cow. To me, that is my horse's head, pretty much even with the cow's head.
Yep.
Make sure that cow's pulling me through a turn.
And that means pulling me through the turn means that he's turning.
The cow's initiating the turn,
Yep.
not the horse.
Yep.
The cow starts to go, and I'm actually giving that cow a little bit of a head start at the beginning of that turn, where that cow's pulling me through that turn.
He's committed to that turn.
Yes.
You've mentioned that to me.
Yes.
You don't want to turn until that cow is damn sure committed to going that
I look
way.
at it like this. I look at it like I want my horse to wait. And like if I was talking to the horse, I'd tell it like, look, let's wait here. Let's be sure where that cow's going and then go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's kind of how I look at it, envision it in my head. And I feel like if I do that and keep that position and that timing on the cow, the pressure from that cow is going to hold my horse back on its butt and hold it physically where I want it to be anyway.
Yeah.
And so I've learned over the years, like, I mean, yeah, there's stuff I do in addition to that, but I'd always try to make that the priority.
Come back to those basics.
Yes, I always try to make that the priority, because if I can keep that right, I'm never too far off.
Silver Spurs Equine owns and stands over 30 champion performance horse stallions. They strive to provide options to top prospects for every preference and budget. Reining is the main focus of Silver Spurs breeding program, and they have developed their $1 Million Challenge as an incredible incentive that offers huge payouts to the champions of 7 different reining competitions around the world. Silver Spurs also raises about 150 foals per year at their ranch in Oklahoma, and each one is offered to the public for sale. This provides a wide variety of options to buyers looking for their next prospect, and most would be eligible for the $1 Million Challenge. Find the perfect cross of traditional performance horse bloodlines combined with the modern dynamics of today's performance horses. All available prospects can be found at silverspurssalehorses.com.
Ever wanted to own a champion? Clinton Anderson, world-class horse trainer and competitor, has been spotting and developing promising horses into greatness for decades. Now, he is offering an exclusive ownership opportunity to create champion horses. Introducing Clinton Anderson's Performance Partnership. In this exclusive program, you and Clinton will co-own a top-tier performance horse that will be meticulously trained and cared for by Clinton Anderson himself. This isn't just an investment, it's a first-hand experience of horsemanship excellence. With Clinton's help and advice, you'll choose the horse that resonates with your ambitions, and Clinton takes the reins from there. From training to stabling, from the practice arena to the winner's circle, Clinton's unwavering dedication ensures that your equine athlete reaches its full potential. This partnership is about more than business. It's about a shared passion for equestrian excellence. And Clinton Anderson isn't just your trainer, he's your partner, fully invested in every horse's success. Together, you'll share in the excitement, the prestige, and the profits. Membership is strictly limited to ensure each investor receives personalized attention and commitment. It's your chance to be part of an exclusive equine ownership community that combines the excitement of competition with the satisfaction of success. Don't miss your opportunity to join Clinton Anderson's Performance Partnership, a unique collaboration that transforms dreams into equine champions. Experience the heart of horsemanship excellence. Find out more at ClintonAndersonPerformanceHorses.com.
So, Matt, we've come back after the break, mate. I want to switch gears a little bit and let's get into some horse training theory and everything about training horses. We've talked about life and some life lessons in your career, but let's talk about horse training now. So, as a student of yours, I would say the 3 biggest things you've tried to drill into me, because, you know, I'm 49 trying to learn to cut. Right. I'm learning this late in life. I've been successful in one area in life, but I'm a rookie now and humbling myself and starting a whole new, you know, not a career, but a sport is cutting. And I got to compete against you. I'm in the open. I don't get to be in the non-pro. I got to compete against you guys that have been doing it for 30 years. So so it's been very humbling. It's been very exciting training and cutting a horse, very frustrating at the same damn time. And I really enjoyed doing it, and I want to do more of it. So the 3 things that I think you've taught me the most, and I want you to tell me if I've got this right or not, is number 1, position. Position on a cow. It seems like from the outside looking in, and that's what I am, a newbie to your sport, you're either short one way or long the other. You're either too far behind the cow going one direction, which in turn, when the cow turns, you'll automatically be too far out in front of him the other way. So when you get out of position and you're short one way and long the other, you're doomed to fail at that point, because it's not if it's going to fall apart, the house of cards, it's just when. So that's the first thing you've taught me. If anything you can concentrate on first, stay in position. Head to head, if you're short one way, get up and get longer there. The second thing was the draw. I never forget this. The first lesson I ever took from you, you told me this and I never forgot it. You said, Clinton, forward motion is the devil in cutting.
Yes.
Well, me coming from a reining background, forward motion's everything.
Right.
A spin is a forward motion.
Right.
Even a rollback for a reiner is somewhat forward.
Yeah.
You know, we're galloping to a stop. So I had to go from a very forward position industry, reining, to now forward motion's the devil.
Right.
And you especially told me you can back a horse 50, 60 steps. It doesn't matter. If he's forward during the turn, it ain't going to work. Right. So a lot of horses can back 50 steps, but it's the middle of the turn they've got to get back.
Yes.
And I asked you, I said, why is forward motion the devil? Well, the first time I got to show a horse that I trained, I realized real quick, that son of a bitch keeps going forward. He loops out of every turn. Pretty soon you're up under the judge's nose and you suck pretty bad. So I figured out pretty quick why everything is backing over. Everything is backing over. So the second thing was the draw in the turn. So what I've learned is before a horse turns, you've instilled in me, if I don't feel something in that horse rock back, it may not even be a step back, but a body rock back, a feeling of rocking back, just don't let that son of a bitch turn. Because it's not going to be a very good turn to begin with because he's going to hit the cow in the ass and go forward. And the third thing was let the cow pull you through the turn. Make sure that he is committed to that turn. And I've noticed when I come from behind more, the turn's cleaner.
Yes.
They roll back cleaner.
Yes.
Where when I come through early or even a tad early, they have a tendency to push out just a little bit. They don't clean that 180-degree turn up. So what have I got wrong as a student of cutting? If you were to say to a young trainer, these are the top 3 priorities, doesn't matter what program you're following, did I get that right? Position, draw, let the cow pull you through the turn. Is that right or wrong, mate?
Well, to me, it's right.
Okay.
I can't tell you that every trainer is going to agree with that, but I think most of them will.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that's right. And the reason, like you said, like you feel like when you let that cow pull you through that turn's cleaner all the way through that turn.
They feel rock back to me.
Well, so because what happens is if your horse beats the cow through the turn, other words, starts the turn ahead of the cow, well, now they're halfway through the turn, they're waiting on the cow.
Yeah.
So they're not going to why would they finish a turn?
Yeah. Because,
the cow, so we're teaching them to hold a cow. So that's part of why, and that's what, so I look at it like if you think of a rubber band or some kind of bond, like to me, the cow is the glue that holds everything together. So when you stay in position, that bond stays pretty tight.
Yeah.
When you can go into a stop with a cow and let that cow pull you through and to where you want to give that cow just a little bit of a head start. Like you can wait too long.
Yeah, and I have a tendency to do that.
But you want that cow to get just a little bit of a head start and so that cow does pull you through that turn, and that bond will stay tight and your horse will draw up under you better. And then when you come out of that turn, that's when you can accelerate and go stop it again.
Yeah.
And and then that cow pulls you through there again. That's when your position stays good, that bond stays tight.
Yeah.
And everything stays together. When your positioning gets bad,
where you're either too long
or too short, now everything, that you're stretching. It's like you think about a rubber band, like cows here, horses there.
Yeah, it's stretching.
Everything's stretching, and the longer you go without getting it fixed, it's eventually going to break.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things you made a big deal to me, you said that I never heard anybody talk about. You said, Clinton, backing your horse up before a turn doesn't necessarily mean he'll be back during the turn.
Right.
I really had to think about that for a second because everybody's back. But you said, Clinton, it doesn't matter if you back up 50 steps. If as you're turning, you let the sumbitch
go forward
or loop out,
yes.
What's the fucking point of it?
Yes.
You're better off not having him back a step and stay back.
Yes.
And that really hit home to me that I wasn't coming from a reining background. We don't draw them back in the middle of the turn. They are, they're forward and out, okay? So that was a very hard lesson for me to learn and something that I can see because every time he pushes forward in the middle of that turn slightly, it's going to increase the radius of my turn. It's going to hit the cow in the ass, which is going to make the cow run more. Where now I've got to catch up more, and it just turns into a kind of a clusterfuck at that particular point. So those 3 points you would say are good basics for anybody wanting to learn the cutting.
Yes.
Position first, draw in the middle of the turn, and let the cow pull you through the turn.
Well, to me, the cow pulling you through the turn and the draw in the middle of that turn all kind of go together.
Yep. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, like that all kind of happens together.
In my mind, I made my money through steps. So everything you teach me, I'm trying to, when I go home at night, I'm thinking step 1, step 2, step 3. So that's why I put everything in numbers and shit like that.
And if that's how you need to think about it, and then it's good. Because those are the things that needs to happen.
Yes. Yeah.
And, and like I said, to me, the positioning on the cow is everything. I've just learned over the years, like I said a while ago, every time I get off in the ditch, if I go back to that being my main focus, it's amazing how fast everything starts falling back into place.
Yeah.
And, to your point about the backing, like I don't back my horses a lot. I probably back them a little more now than I used to, but the only reason I really back a horse is just, to get their feet moving so that it's easier in the middle of that horse. Like I've already kind of got their feet moving back. So, as I turn, I've kind of got that motion going, to kind of help, teaching them that to move that inside hind leg, back and out of the road there so they can draw all the way through that turn.
Yep.
And, because that's what you're working for. And, but once my horses learn that, I don't like backing them a whole lot because I don't want to go stop with the cow and the cow stand still and have my horse start backing up because now I'm out of position again.
Yeah.
But if they'll stay there and wait, even with that cow, when that cow goes, but they wait, but they're ready to turn. They're stopped. They're loaded up. They're in a position with their body where they can either, if the cow goes straight, they can drive off their ass and go straight. If the cow turns, they can move that foot out of the way and they can get through that turn and get to the other side and stop it on the other side. So,
okay, that makes
does that make sense?
Yeah, very much so. Next thing I want to talk about that I've heard you talk to me about is about having the confidence to see something through. You mentioned to me early in your cutting career that all the cutting trainers were like, I thought you said shoulder, horse's shoulder, cow's shoulder, and you could never get it feeling the way you wanted. And that's when you kind of said, what happens?
Well,
what did I get wrong?
Well, so I think back then, everybody was thinking more inside a cow, not shoulder to shoulder, but like horse's head to cow shoulder.
Okay.
Or
little inside of it.
Little inside the cow.
Okay, and that's how everybody was doing it.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
You told me, and let me put words into your mouth, that you were frustrated because it never could quite feel the way you wanted it to feel, and it never quite worked the way you wanted it to work.
Right.
And that's when you developed that style of getting on the outside of a cow a tad bit.
Right.
And creating that bend.
Right.
And I specifically remember you saying, hey, Clinton, this was different from a lot of shit that was going on. I didn't even know if it worked. You said that.
Yeah.
Hey, I have no fucking idea if what I'm going to do is work.
Yeah.
But you said something to me I never forgot. You said I was going to see it through.
Yeah.
I was going to change the technique and go, hell or high water, commit to the year and see if the son bitch went through.
Yeah.
Tell us about that transition because it takes courage to do something different than what everybody else is doing.
Well, it felt right to me. Was the first
Every
thing.
turn felt better.
Yeah, it just like I don't know. It felt right to me. It felt easier to me. Like I felt like if I was a little short on a cow, like now, because as soon as that cow starts to move, your horse wants to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So that cow starts to move, and I've got to make my horse wait till that cow comes all the way across their face, you know, and then gets kind of to their shoulder before I want it to turn, because like I said, I want that cow pulling me through the turn. Well, the whole time, as soon as that cow starts moving, well, your horse is wanting to go, they're getting squirmy, you're trying to hold them, so now they're getting stiff, and, you know, and it just felt like too much of a fight. Well, so to me, like when I got to, you know, getting even or maybe just a little past that cow to where, like my horse would stop and they had to like come here around me to see that cow. Then as soon as that cow would go, I could let my horse go right then.
Yeah.
And that cow would pull them through there. And it just, to me, like it just felt right. It made sense to me in my head. But I think whatever, and that's what worked for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. Yeah. You know, we all have a little different feel. But I do believe this. Whatever you're doing when you're training a horse, if you're not committed to it, if you don't believe in it yourself, your horse isn't going to believe in it either.
Yeah.
If you have doubt, that horse is going to feel that doubt.
Yeah.
And if you want that horse to be confident, you better be confident too.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when you said I had to see it through.
Yes.
I was changing some shit.
Yeah.
And you said to me you didn't even know if it was going to work, but you were going to see it through.
Yes.
To the futurity.
Yes.
See it through, you know.
Yeah.
That was another big lesson I got from you, is because I've said to you a couple of times, hey, I don't know why this feels good. The theory of it I don't understand, but it does. What do you think about it? And you looked at me and said, if it feels good and it's working, keep doing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're the only motherfucker in the world doing it.
Yeah.
If it feels good and it's working, have confidence to follow it through. Do what feels right to you.
Well, if you don't commit to it and follow it through, how are you ever going to know if it works or not?
Yeah. Yeah. And that was
I've done some shit like that before and it didn't work, and I'm like, well, shit, that didn't work. And I got to, you know what I'm saying? Like, but like if you don't commit to it and follow it through, you can't halfway commit to something, because then you're like, if you do that, you're always searching for some kind of answer you're never going to find.
And that brings me to the next point about changing too many techniques for too many different trainers. Like I'm trying to learn and I say this in my own business, like down in the horsemanship, we're just a general horsemanship program. We don't specialize in cutting horses or reining or anything like that. We're just general horsemanship. And I always tell my students, once you learn my program really well, then go add to it. Then you'll have a great foundation to go add your own shit to it. Okay, I don't have an ego on it. I don't care if you keep half it or keep all of it. But get a good foundation first. And me and you spoke off camera how you've said to me, Clinton, a lot of young trainers can get into trouble by you ride with this trainer for 1 or 2 weeks, and then you ride with that trainer for 2 weeks, and then you ride with that trainer. And your horse doesn't have any fucking idea what you really want him to do. You don't have any idea. Right. Pick somebody. So I'm going to let you explain this. Not my words, yours.
I mean, so it's basically what I did. Like I said, I love the way Paul's horses worked, and I wanted to learn what he did. You know, I wanted to learn that program. I wanted to learn what he did, because I wanted my horses to be like his.
Emulate his.
Yes, and. You know, so I learned the program by working. So, and I'll kind of add this to it. So, like, to me, like, I studied Paul a lot, you know, so I got to work in horses a lot like Paul, and the other person that is John Mitchell. Mm-hmm. We've always been very similar, you know, in our training styles and programs, and he's one of my best friends, and we've worked, especially back then, like we worked together a lot, and like, but those are the two people, like even today, like if I'm struggling, I'm calling one of those guys, and I'm like, hey, like, Either you're coming to my place to work or I'm coming to yours because some shit's not right here and I need some help.
Yeah.
And, you know, because I know their ideas and my ideas are similar enough.
They're going to mesh.
They're going to mesh, and we're going to find, you know, and we're going to figure this out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But there's lots of different styles that work in training, cutting, and I'm not saying one's right and one's wrong. There's not. There's a lot of them that work, but the problem is if you're a young guy and you're trying to learn and you're trying to emulate 3 different styles at the same time, you're going to be confused. Your horse is going to be confused. You know, there's enough guys these days that, you know, share similar enough styles. Like, go find a guy that you like the way it needs to be a successful program.
Yes. And
you like the way their horses work. And you feel like it fits you and your personality, learn that program.
Yeah.
And learn all you can from it. You can pick up things from other people like I still do today, but you got to be real careful about, you know, working with too many, you know, conflicting styles because to me, you've got to learn one program. You got to learn it, know it, trust it, and then, you know, like I told you, I think it was earlier today. Like, I studied and I learned what Paul did, but in the end, my horses didn't look like Paul's.
Yeah.
Clint Allen worked for me 8 years. He learned, studied what I did. It's the basics is the same. His horses don't necessarily look like mine.
Yeah. He found his own style.
And everybody does.
Yeah.
But you get a good foundation and you build off that.
Yeah. That's one of the things I really like about being a student of yours is you never tell me I'm wrong. You say if it feels right and it'll work, go for it.
Yeah.
If it'll fit the parameter, you're staying in position.
Yeah.
Are they drawing in the middle of the turn? You know what I mean? Are you letting the cow pull you through the turn? If it'll fit those 3 parameters, go for it. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I liked about you is you said, you know, follow your heart a little bit. To have the balls to go experiment some, but see it through. Don't change it for a week or 2. See it through to the end so that you can give it a good damn evaluation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, every trainer's looking for an edge on their competition. You know, whether it's a better horse, better way to train it. But really, in reality, all the trainers have got access to great horses. All the trainers are doing a lot of the same techniques. To me, the next greatest edge on competition, whether you're reining, cutting, cow horse, eventing, or racing, is keeping your horses sound and ready for competition. For the last 4 years, I've been sparring my horses by Cold Creek Equine Spa, and I spar them for 20 minutes every day after I ride them at 36 degrees. It ices down all 4 legs. What a game changer. My vet bills have been cut back by 50%. My horse's soundness has been gone through the roof, okay? People think that spas are expensive. It'll pay for itself just on saving on vet bills in the first 18 months. Spas have been around for a long time, but for years they've been junk. They are broken more than they actually work. You needed to be like a plumbing engineer to make the some bitches work. Cold Creek Equine are using the latest technology, industrial strength machines that are basically maintenance free. Anybody can operate this thing. Even me as a horse trainer, I can operate it. And more than anything, it stays working. Go to their website, check them out. It's a game changer. In the next 10 years, if you're a professional horse trainer, if you don't have a spa, you will be left behind on your equine soundness.
Nothing would please them more than to see this old piece of shit in a coffin. Oh, they want to drive a steel knife down a stupid fucking throat, and they talk about it quite often.
Okay, guys, we got hate mail coming out our ears. Let's blow off some steam with the haters. This is Bear Killer. Oh my, 2018. You savage son of a bitch. Righto, let's see what he has to say. Lost way too many good points. What does it say? Can't fucking spell, that's for damn sure. Used to look up to your skills. Is that all you got is dirt? goddamn, we need to proof these fucking people's emails, don't we? Okay. Is that all you got? Is dirt mouth? Don't get bold. I'm literally reading what this motherfucker wrote here, okay? Don't get bold. You may be a horseman, but you couldn't wipe my rear. I'll be honest, I didn't want to wipe your rear end. It wasn't on my priority of things to do today, but thank you for bringing that up, okay? Listen, buddy, I love the fact that I live rent-free in your fucking brain, okay? Love it. Talk about times in your career that you might got to second guessing yourself, or situations where you might have regretted second guessing yourselves at all, or different horses you've trained that might have made you say, man, did I do this right? But in the end, what would you say to yourself now?
I would think, short answer to that is probably every time I've second guessed myself, I wished I wouldn't have.
Yeah. Yep.
Because
follow your instincts.
Follow your instincts. And because here's the thing, first of all, when you start second guessing yourself, you've lost confidence.
Yep.
Or you wouldn't be second guessing yourself.
That's true.
And and like I said, I think a lot. I mean, you got to be somewhat on track, but like I said, to me, it's. If you don't trust what you're doing, how in the hell do you expect your horse to trust it?
Yes. You're better, if I'm taking what you're saying correctly, you're better off doing it your way and fucking it completely up. But do it your way and learn from that. Then second guess yourself. Because like when I get in front of you and ride, I say to you, listen, I'm going to pretend you're not here. I'm not going to put on a show. I'm not going to do what I think you want to see. I'm going to do it the way I'm going to train as if you weren't here. And then when we get done, you'll tell me what you like, what you don't like, whatever. But I'm not going to pretend to be what you want me to be. I'm just going to do it. And some of it you say is great, and some of it you say, Clint, that's completely fucked up. Like, seriously. But just be what you are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I look at training horses, training a cutting horse. Mm-hmm. So what's my job? Well, my job's to train that horse to keep the cow from getting back to the herd. Like, that's the basics of it. Okay, well, now I got to do that and try to, make sure they're correct enough that they do it correct enough that we can have a chance of winning. So that's the basic job. Well, but in order, the main thing you've got to have when it's all said and done from that horse is confidence. Mm-hmm. They've got to know their job, be confident in their job, and for them to be confident in their job, they got to be comfortable in their job.
Yeah.
And that all comes from consistency.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing every day, going to the same spot on the cow every day, the same time. It's the same thing every day, and over that time, you build consistency, and you just try to build and build and build a little bit every day. And look, there's days that suck in there, that everything feels shitty and it feels terrible, but you've got to trust,
Trust the process.
So obviously, like I'm helping you. Any time it's like way off, I'm going to tell you, like, Clinton, hey, look, that's what, you're way off. Like, we got to get, you got to get it reeled back in here. But once you get it reeled back in there, you've got to trust, to me, you've got to trust what you feel. And to learn, you've got to trust what you feel and trust what you're doing and see that through long enough to know if it, because it might work for you. There might be a little something there that works for you that might not work for me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very much so.
But you've got to. But I think even if it's a little bit wrong, and your horse is confident and comfortable in it, you're better off than a horse that's.
You're better off sucking and being true to yourself.
Yeah.
Or being a little wrong. Then you'll get less damage doing that. I think of what you're trying to say is you'll have less trouble doing what you want to do, even if it's a tad bit wrong, than second guessing yourself and doing 7 different programs and being constantly different, constantly doubting, should I be doing this, should I be doing that, and being uncommitted.
The worst feelings I've ever had showing a horse is when I show a horse and I feel like it's unsure what its job is.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, as long as they understand and they're comfortable what their job is, like, and to me, and that's my job as a trainer, is to teach them their job, get them as confident as I can in their job, and you know what? And then talent's going to take care of the rest.
Yes. Yes.
If they're a good enough horse and want to be a winner, they'll be a winner.
Yeah.
If they're just an average horse and they can only mark 72 or 73, well, by God, let's go mark 72, 73 every time we can.
And that kind of brings me to the next point. I've heard you tell me this story before about, you know, there's times in your career when you've had some really outstanding horses, and there's been other times in your career where you had nice horses or even damn average horses and you didn't have that winner. But I thought you told me there's a lot to be said. I don't know if another trainer told you this. I can't remember how the story went. But keep training those average ones, because eventually that great one's going to come back. What did you say?
Who told
you that?
Paul Hansma told me. He said, you know, like, and I don't remember exactly how he said it, but to the point was, like, the way to stay successful, because he says there's going to be times you have horses that are good enough to win. There's going to be times that you don't. Mm-hmm. But he said in those times when you don't, if you can still train those horses to be good enough just to get in finals and just stay, and keep doing your job and keep getting in finals and doing the best you can on what you have, then when you get that next good one, you're going to be ready just to carry on and go make the most of what that horse can be and go back to winning.
Yeah.
Where a lot of trainers get in trouble, and we all do it, is when we get used to winning, we want to win, and we start trying to make a winner out of a horse that doesn't have what it takes to be a winner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every time I've tried to make a horse be more than it can be, I've ended up with less than what that horse could have been. Because I've lost the confidence. You know what I'm saying? Because when you do that, when you try to make a horse be something it's not, you're going to lose the confidence. And when you lose the confidence, you're going to lose the consistency, and
then it goes to shit.
And it goes to shit.
Yeah, yeah. So the last, we've known each other from a distance for 20 years now, okay? And I've been in the clinician world, you've been in the competitive world of cutting horses. In the last year and a half, we've spent a lot more time around each other. Just recently, you and Tara sent me a 2-year-old for us to put through what I would call my program.
Right.
This is what I do. We kept it 7 weeks, and put my program on it. The last couple of days, I showed you what we did. The last couple of days, you rode the horse, etc. I'm learning from your world, and I've learned a lot. And I've had to humble myself a lot too.
Right.
And I knew that going in. I don't give a fuck how many millions of dollars you've won or even made.
Yeah.
When you change industries, you're a rookie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you go to do a different industry, I don't care how much you won, you literally are starting as a rookie again or a non-pro again.
Yeah.
What do you think, after seeing what I did with that 2-year-old and seeing what we did with it in 7 weeks, I would like you to describe to me what you like about what I've done, what you don't like about what I've done, what you think it could bring to the cutting horse industry. Because a lot of cutting horse trainers laugh at me. There's Clint Anderson.
I used to be one.
He's just a clinician.
Yeah.
He can't get one broke. They laugh at me. And I'm good with that. They've been laughing at me for years, okay? So, but you got a real taste of a guy that won $10 million. You got a real taste of what I did in the last couple of days, and I handed that 2-year-old back. It was, pretty much unrideable when I got it, and what I got done with it. In your words, and you could tell me it fucking sucks. This is Uncut and Real Raw for a reason.
Yeah.
Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, what surprised you. Just get real raw.
Well, so, first of all, I think to truly answer your question, it's going to take me, I don't know, at least a couple weeks. Get home, ride it, and see. But based on, really, which I spent more time on it today than I did yesterday, piddling around and stuff, but just based off what I felt in the horse today.
Riding it.
I'm going to say, I think in 2 weeks to no more than 30 days, I can have that horse feeling exactly how I want it to feel.
Yep.
Without a whole lot of headache.
Yep. And how does that help you train it as a cutting horse?
Well, I think, like, so basically you've taken all the bullshit out of the horse, for one. The only thing, and we've had this discussion before, the biggest problem that I would have following you is because you come from a reining background and you do the cow horse and stuff, your horses are more bridled up than I want mine to be.
Yes.
Now, there's some cutting horse trainers that like that.
Yes.
It doesn't fit me.
Yes.
But and I was a little bit concerned about that with this colt.
Yep.
But like today, in the half hour I spent on him, I'm like I said, I think in a couple weeks I can have him feeling exactly the way I want him to feel, and like in what I've seen, and just in this horse, in a couple days riding him, and then watching you put him, show us the other day everything
the groundwork, like
we put him on
the obstacle course.
Like,
we jumped him over everything. We went through the cowboy curtain. We did a lot of shit that in your world people would laugh at.
Yes.
Why the fuck do you want this thing trotting over some logs? Why does he go over a teeter-totter bridge? Why are you doing all this shit? Well, my answer is because it gets them broke. It gets them sensible. It gets them to act like a 10-year-old gelding. You know what I mean? Tara looked at me and said, shit, at Silverado, we can't get these son of bitches through the plastic curtain, some of these horses. This 2-year-old sits under it. Tell me what you think that does as your job as a trainer, that, yes, it's time-consuming, but how does it make them act?
Well, like I said, I think it just cuts through some of the bullshit. That, like that you have to deal with a lot of times. Because, 2-year-old guys, cutting horse trainers, really all we really think about, to be honest, is how are they working a cow.
That's true.
That's our focus.
Yep.
I don't give a shit. I will saddle one every once in a while, but you know what I'm saying? Tara's really good. She makes them behave and all, and stand still, everything she's doing with them, and all that's great. But all I really care about is how, how's this thing working a cow, because that's where the money's made.
That's true.
But what especially from knowing where this colt was when I sent him to you, and then today, riding that horse today,
7 weeks later,
so I'll just say this, that's probably the brokest 2-year-old I've ever been on, and you did it in 7 weeks, not a year. Now, what I've got to figure out, and why I said I need a little bit of time, so how much of what you did beyond getting through the bullshit is going to help me? As far as, because to me the 2-year-old year is mainly, to me the cutting is, how they do things and why they do things, and the why is the cow. And the how is, how they stop, how they turn around, how they physically use their body. But I have to say, I was really impressed. In fact, you left the arena there for a while there today, and just Tara and I were in there, and I was piddling around with him, and other than I need just a little bit of, probably a couple weeks on him, just to get him a little more comfortable with me holding him with my feet a little more. Once I get that on him, shit, I think it's going to be easy.
My prediction is this: when you get them broke early, the first couple of months, and you do the things that are time-consuming that none of the trainers want to do, get them halter broke, get them leading good, get them backing up, do all the groundwork, it allows you to get straight to the chase. It allows you to get on a cow and do your job. Now, he'll either make it or he won't.
Right.
I can't make him be talented or make him not be talented. But it lets you just get straight to the horse. and train him and let him tell you what he's going to do. Where all the other things that he's normally worried about when they're unbroke, pulling on the bridle, rooting their nose up, pushing into your leg, not moving off your leg, bucking with the saddle, all the other dumb shit.
Well, I'll put it this way. I've still got some 3-year-olds that I'm trying to work through some of that shit with that I know I'll never have an issue with on this 2-year-old because you've already been through that shit.
Yes. I'm not worried. I'll make a prediction. I'm not worried about the over-bridledness, and here's why. When we stop suppling them every day, because we work a lot to get them that broke in the face. When we stop moving their body parts around every day and we stop those suppling exercises that I showed you we did with him,
you got to be somewhat
every day
on track,
he'll get a little bit heavier, he'll get a little bit stiffer, his head will come up a little bit more. And that'll be just where you want it to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He won't stay as soft as we've got him because you're not going to maintain the oil on the hinges that we do, nor should you.
Right.
He's had enough of that.
Right.
He's ready now to go do your job. And that's the curiosity I've got, is go do your job.
But I do think this, though, I think because I'll run into a time, though, where I'm going to want him to come back here a little bit more. And the fact that you've already got that on him, that's going to be easier to do.
Yeah. To me, the most important part of a horse's career, I don't give a fuck if it's a reiner, a cow horse, a cutter, any jumper, is the first 8 weeks, Matt.
Yeah.
If you fuck up those first 8 weeks and let them get stiff, let them get hot, let them buck with the saddle, just lose their confidence. You keep coming back to confidence. I want to build their confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, we do it as a bit of a show, but the last thing I showed you is that colt jumped up on a pedestal.
Yeah.
The girl stood on his back, cracked a whip, plastic bag, rode him around with a plastic bag, the American flag, shit like that. People laugh at that. But what I'm doing is I'm building their confidence so that it doesn't matter what you throw at him.
Right.
Okay, as in life, he's going to say, I've been through worse than this.
And that's what I was going to say. To put it to other trainers out there that are wondering about this part of our conversation. Basically, so what you've done with that horse, nothing I'm going to do with it from this point on is going to be a big deal.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah. I mean, and that's big. I'm not, I don't think there's going to be that horse, you've exposed that horse to so much.
Yeah.
And
because
had him to where nothing bothered.
One of your question was, Clinton, you've got him desensitized to so much. I'm a little worried. Will he be too numb?
Yeah.
Did you, after riding him, how'd you feel about that?
No, he's not going to be too numb. Not this one.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that either.
Not this one.
Some bitch took us 180 hours to get him standing there with the plastic bag. I'm not worried about that either.
No, for sure.
But I'm not even. But even a colt that's more naturally quiet, I'm not worried about it. Because you asked me, once I put them through this 6-7 week program, do I go back out there on the obstacle course? Do I get the plastic bag out again? Hell no, fuck that. I'm done with all that.
Yeah.
They're now in a performance horse-based program.
Yeah.
But they've got a foundation now that if we shit can that horse or it doesn't have enough talent, we got a way to sell it.
Yeah.
We got a way to sell it to a trail riding lady. We got a way to move it into a different industry and it be successful.
Yeah.
At that particular industry.
Well, I'll just say this, I was one of the guys that used to laugh at you.
That's
long time ago.
Yep.
Because I'm who's this guy from Australia? He's never won anything. What the hell is he? And that's. I think that honestly, I think that's how
90%
most.
of horse
I think
trainers
that's how
think of me
most
like
horse trainers, and a little bit of it's jealousy too, because you're outsmarted most of us. But seeing it now, and going through that with this horse and like I said, I need to ride it, get it home, ride it a couple of weeks, find out what I like and I don't like for sure. But the one thing I know for sure is I'm not going to have to deal with any bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just going to be work the horse and this is either what it can do or what it can't do.
And that's time, isn't it?
Yes.
So the quicker you can figure that out, if he's no good, what do? Find him a new industry.
Yes.
Find him a new owner. Find him a new place that he's successful.
Yeah.
Let's not wait a year and a half.
Yeah.
There was another mare you gave me, a 3-year-old mare that was some trouble. And we don't know if she's just a bitch or she's just not broke.
Yeah.
We figured out she's a bitch.
Yeah.
It's not she was not that broke either, but she just wasn't a good horse.
Yeah.
You got to figure that out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
After 30 days, I handed it back to you. There's no more question now. Is it a brokenness issue, or is it she just doesn't have the mind, the talent, and the ability to want to go do it?
Yeah.
So to me, if you can shit can that 2-year-old after 4 or 5 months of riding early, rather than keep it in training for a whole nother year or year and a bit, and then figure out, because you're always questioning, is he just not broke? Does he just need more time?
Yeah.
That costs money, doesn't it?
Yes.
Does that make sense to get it go down the road?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like we charge $7,500 to do that program. That's 6-week program plus $1,000 a month board. As Tara said to me today, she said, I would have wrote you a check for 10 grand.
Yeah.
Because the horse was worth nothing to me before it got here.
Yeah.
Now it's worth a minimum 50, 60 grand.
Yeah.
He's going to go on and be a barrel horse.
Yeah.
I want him to be a great barrel horse. But when he gets to that barrel horse trainer, I want her to go right to her job.
Yeah.
Right to her job, so she can say, does he have talent? Does he not have talent? Not, how do I get him broke? How do I get him left, right? How do I do the basics? That should be done. And to me, the point is, this first 8 weeks of a horse's life under saddle, Matt, to me, mate, are the most important as a horseman. Get that part right. Build their confidence. You're always about building a horse's confidence as a cutting horse. I'm from a clinician side of it, is build their confidence as a horse to be around humans and get along with us and get along well. Can we get along? I can't put more talent into him. I'm the first to admit that. Yeah. But I can sure get him to a point where you can figure out if he's got more talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, when you boil it down, it's all horse training. It's like we're both doing the same thing. We're just doing different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's horse training. It's just different.
Pressure and release.
Yes.
It's the same shit. You're right.
It's the same stuff.
Sometimes you'll tell me something and I'll beat myself up and say, I fucking know that.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing, like sometimes you actually look at me. You said to me, you must be the dumbest motherfucker in the world. You've made millions of dollars training horses. You know what I'm about to tell you. And I'm like, I do know it. Why am I not doing it?
Yeah.
Even though it's a different sport, it's the same shit.
Well, but it's because, I mean, I'm the same way. Like, I couldn't go do all the shit you do, because I don't know. I understand it. When I watch you do it, I understand it. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But I'm not used to thinking about it that way. Mm-hmm. Like hell, when I was a kid, when we broke 2-year-olds, like, we got them in a small enough area we could get a saddle on them, get on them, and then it was off to the big pasture, and like we didn't do any groundwork. Yeah. We didn't do any of that stuff. Like, and so I was just never exposed to it. I mean, like everything I've learned to do on a horse, I learned to do on their back.
Yeah.
Like I'd never.
And my theory is, if we can get them broke on the ground, there will be less fights under saddle.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. If we can spend more time on the ground, not all the time, but just a little more time in the beginning, we have a lot less fights under saddle.
Right.
We don't have to buck them out. We don't have to choke them down. We don't have to tie their heads down. We don't have to do a bunch of shit because we don't have the fight in them. Again, I'm the first to say I can't put more talent in them.
Well, none of us can.
Yeah, they are what they are.
They are what they are.
Yes. But
I mean, all we can do is develop them to be the best version of themselves they can be. That's our job.
Yeah.
To me, that's a horse trainer's job.
That's exactly right.
Whatever sport you're training them to be, our job is develop them to be the best version of themselves they can be.
I think personally, every time horse trainers can cross industries, we can learn from each other.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
I've learned a shit ton from you, and been glad of the friendship and mentorship over the last 18 months. I'm hoping I might have showed you a few things.
Oh, yeah.
That you can say, okay, that's definitely worth putting in the bank.
Well, I told you next year I'm sending you a cutter.
Yeah.
Like I sent you this horse out of a little bit of panic because like we were having a rough start. Yeah. And and what you've done with him is, I think, unreal. Yeah. And I think is going to be huge. Now, whether or not he's successful or not is going to be
a whole other story.
How good a horse is he? But I know for sure now I can take him home, send him to the barrel trainer, and she can do whatever she wants to with him, like, I mean, and she's not gonna have any trouble.
Yeah.
Like it's just gonna be all right. Now let's learn how to run burro.
Next time I want you to send me a cutter.
Yep.
I'm going to keep it for 7 weeks. I'm going to do the exact same shit.
Yep.
I'm not going to change a thing.
Yep.
And then I want you to get him home as you personally train him as a cutter as
Yep.
a 2-year-old.
Yep.
Even though you're going to, that was one of your concerns. What happens if I'm going so much?
Yep.
I predict that even though you're going so much, the fact that you're riding him with 35 years of experience
Yep.
and he's broke and he's ready, you'll still make up the time that you're going to horse
Yep.
shows. Could be completely proven
Yep.
wrong on this, but it's an experiment I'm willing to do.
Yeah,
if you're
no,
willing
me
to do
too.
it.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you've sold me enough on it. Like, I'm. Yeah.
I know people think I'm full of shit. Like I called you and Tara a week and 2 weeks ago and said, when you come to see this horse, you're going to shit. I'm sure when I hung up the phone, both of you or one of you thought, this can't be that fucking impressive. But
no, I mean, 2 years ago I would have thought that, but I've been around you enough now in the last 2 years, like I know it's not all bullshit. Like I've seen enough of it.
Yeah.
You know, like that I already knew it wasn't all, like it's not all bullshit. Like it's like and like coming from a guy who truly, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say it because we're friends now, but yeah, I mean I was one of those guys that used to kind of laugh at you and thought, what's this idiot doing, you know? And you know, but now I'm a believer.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure a believer in you.
Yeah.
I'm sure a believer in what you do. And I've always had a lot of respect for the horse trainers. Out of all the clinicians, a lot of horse clinicians shit on the horse trainers. They're a bunch of fucking professional predators, and they do this and that. I've always been pro horse trainer. I've never been against a horse trainer. A lot of horse trainers have been against me, but I've never been against them because they're trying to make a living, Matt. They're trying to survive. They're trying to do the best they can. And a lot of clinicians don't understand the pressure horse trainers are under.
So it's just, to me, it's just ignorance and immaturity on both sides, right? I mean, it's just, you know, you don't know till you really get in it and know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what you see, like when you just see something from the outside, you don't know it, you don't understand it, and that's what I've learned with the time I've spent. You know, I've spent with you, like. It's taught me a lot for sure, and you know, but I mean most of that stuff, it just comes from ignorance of both sides and not knowing it. And like, look, every horse trainer, I don't care what industry you're in, if you're successful at all, you work your ass off at what you're doing.
You do. You're damn right you do.
And you care about what you're doing, and you put everything you have into what you're doing.
Yes.
And that's why I like, and I mean, there's some trainers that I may not like their horses, I may not like the way they work, but they win, and they should win. They deserve to win when they win. Yeah. And I respect, yes. I respect all of them.
Yes.
They might do, you know, we all, and I'm sure I do some things they don't like too. That's all part of it. Yeah. But like anybody that
is doing well,
that's doing well,
had to earn it,
and is, you know, consistently does well. I mean, I have a lot of respect for them.
Very much so.
Because they, like, whether they do it the way I think it should be done or not, it doesn't matter. They've worked their ass off. They've cared. They've put the work in to achieve whatever they're, you know, whatever yes. they're achieving in whatever sport it is.
That's exactly right. Nothing's for free.
No.
Nothing's for free, and I don't give a fuck what you do. You had to earn it to get
yes.
to number one.
Yes.
Love Clinton's Uncut and Real Raw podcast? Get the merch. T-shirts, caps, and shot glasses, all available from sweet and innocent to spicy and raw. Shop the full line at shop.downunderhorsemanship.com.
How do you know what it takes to become successful? Talk to someone who's done it. Clinton Anderson became a multi-millionaire by leveraging his passion for horse training into a global brand and media empire, starting with nothing but the change in his pocket and the will to succeed. In doing so, he revolutionized an industry and became a celebrity. Now, you can put his experience and advice to work for your business. With Clinton Anderson's business consultancy, You can tap into Clinton's unique perspective, hear his straight talk, and get his no-nonsense advice. Just imagine yourself armed with Clinton's hard-earned knowledge and entrepreneurial spirit. So whether you own a ranch or any sort of business at all, we invite you to discover the transformative power of Clinton Anderson's leadership and innovation in your business. Call 1-888-287-7432 to take your business to the next level today.
Okay, Matt, we're back after a break, mate. Tell me what at 55, $10 million later, how many thousands of hours in a saddle, how many thousands of hours riding down the road in a truck, going to horse shows. What would you tell a 20-year-old Matt Gaines?
Oh, gosh, there's a lot.
I don't give a fuck. I got lots of Captain Morgan. Let's keep going.
So first and foremost, if you don't know Jesus, meet him, because you're going to need him.
Okay.
Be prepared to work your ass off. You're going to have to, the way I say it is, you're going to have to shit yourself into believing you're better than you are to become what you want to be.
Say that one more time.
You're going to have to, it's all about confidence.
Yep.
And it's hard to have confidence in yourself when you've never done anything.
Very much so.
So you've got to shit yourself into believing you're better than you are at the time to become what you want to be.
Yes. I love it.
Like I said earlier, find a program. I don't care, cutting horse trainer, reining trainer, cow horse trainer, rope horse trainer, barrel horse trainer. I think it's all the same. Find somebody that's successful, that has a program you like, that you think fits your personality, and if you got to go to work for them, whatever you got to do, you find a way to work with that person as much as you can and learn their program. And if they're successful, they're a winner. And when I talk about learning their program, it's learn the training program, but also learn. You gotta learn the mental approach too, because if you're not strong mentally, it's hard to be a winner.
Yeah.
Without the right mental game. You've got to learn that too. So, you've got to learn, it's more than just learning how to train the horses. That's just part of it. You got to learn their mentality. That's one thing I like. Successful people, especially the people that like a Tiger Woods, for instance. Mm-hmm. Like when you talk about somebody that's dominant, Michael Jordan, that's dominant over, there's a lot of great basketball players, golfers and stuff, but those few that are at the very, very top, there's something that separates them and everybody else, and I believe it's the mental toughness. I believe it's the mental game. Mm-hmm. Because at that level, hell, they're all talented.
Yes, they are.
To me, it's work ethic and mental game. So learn all of it. Learn the horse program. Learn the mental side of it, and I'm always trying to learn and work on the mental side of it, just because I believe it. Like I said, if you don't believe in yourself,
nobody else will.
Nobody else will either.
I don't know how you feel about this comment, but I'll make it. I always said, especially, the difference maybe between our careers, obviously you're a cutting horse trainer, I was a clinician, general horsemanship teacher, okay? I was more in the public's eye than you. For 15 years I had a television show, and I was in the public's eye for the masses, okay? Yeah. I always said this, and I stand by it, and people think I'm a piece of shit for saying it, but I'll say it anyway. I always said, if you're going to be in the public's eye, you got to be half fucking arrogant to make it. You got to believe in yourself so much that you get that many arrows in your back, you just keep walking.
Yeah.
Because if you're pea-hearted or you're sensitive to criticism, you're never going to make it. And now, you know, in the last 15 years, social media, but, you know, people say shit on social media that they'd never say to your face. In a billion years, they would never have that conversation to your face, okay? One of the things that that guy said to you that, hey, you're never going to be a very good trainer, at least I respect the fact that he said it to your face.
Yeah.
He didn't type it on it. You know, I call them these keyboard warriors. They say all this shit on a keyboard, and you're never going to meet them. You got to be half arrogant to believe in yourself. You got to be half arrogant to like, I'm going to win at all fucking costs. Nothing's going to take me down. I truly believe you got to have a little arrogance to you to be number one, because life wants to keep you down. Humans want to keep you down.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be nice to think that, you know, I always say America has a culture of this. When you're the underdog, everybody's rooting for you.
Yeah.
And as soon as you become rich, famous, and successful, everybody fucking hates your guts and they want to tear you down.
Yeah.
It's literally the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
By Rocky 3, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the culture.
That's true.
So you got to be, if you don't believe in you, nobody else is going to believe in you. So yeah, you could call it arrogance, you could call it overly confident. I don't give a shit what you want to call it, but you better be it. Well, if you're going to survive. Do you agree, or you think
no, I agree. I agree 100%. And like I said earlier, you know, I learned to, you know, those comments and stuff like that. I've learned to use those as motivators.
Yes.
You know, and you know, I think, you know, Tara, she used to get mad, you know, well, she heard somebody so and so said this about you or whatever, and I'm like, you know, look. If they're not talking about you, you're not beating them bad enough.
You're damn right. Losers never get hated on.
Yeah.
I always say this.
Yeah.
The bum on the side of the street that's homeless, nobody hates on him.
Yeah.
But the guy that's making money, the guy that's winning, the guy that's successful, everybody hates on me. So I had a buddy of mine, an Australian guy that came over probably 4 months ago, and I haven't seen this guy in 20 years, and he walked, and I got to rekindle a friendship I've lost for 20 years, and he said to me, he said, Clinton, he said, how do you deal with the hate? And I said, what do you mean? He said, you know, there's whole websites that hate you. Like there's actual websites and Facebook groups that shit on you constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly throw you under the bus, say the nastiest shit about you, your horses, your program, human being, whatever. And he said, how do you take that? How do you deal with that? And I said, I love it. And he looked at me with the strangest look on his face, and he said, what do you mean? I said, that means I'm winning.
Yeah.
I don't want them to stop hating on me.
Yeah.
When they stop hating on me, I know I'm a has-been. I know I'm broke. I know I'm no good anymore.
Yeah.
As long as they're throwing me under the bus and trying to kill me, I'm being relative. So I always tell people, when you're winning, expect haters and like it. Use it as fuel. You sound like you've used it as fuel.
Yeah.
I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
I don't need to compete. At my age, I could just retire forever.
Yeah.
But I'm competing and getting my ass kicked in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I don't like walking out of the cutting pen with a 68.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed from that, but it gives me fuel to come back and get a 69 next time.
Yeah.
Next time a 70. I want to get a 72.
Yeah.
When I won, you know, first horse show you took me to, I won $1,400. That don't mean jack shit to you, but it means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Learning the cut in a whole new sport. So I got to be willing to go back and be a rookie.
Yeah.
Go back and humble yourself and start a whole new career. And not that I'm necessarily making a career of it, but I'm learning a skill set. That's why I respect the horse trainers. I don't shit on them, Matt, because I know how hard they've worked.
But you know, but like the one part that will be easier for you is like you've learned how to fight through that part of it.
Yeah,
like,
that's easy.
The only thing that stands between you and success now is just putting in the work.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I mean, and that's you know, and that's what it is, and you know, and like kind of back to the question, you know, what you tell a 21-year-old guy now, you know, and part of that mental side is like so back years ago, Paul gave me some tapes, and I can't remember this guy's name, but he was a tennis coach and kind of a mental toughness coach guy and stuff, and
Wasn't it called The Art of the Game?
Maybe. I think his name was Jim Lair or something like that.
I read that book.
And
it pisses me off. Doug Carpenter gave me that book, and I can't think of the name of the book, but he was a tennis coach.
But what I got out of it, and there was a lot more to it than this, but what I got out of it is you got to be really careful about what comes out of your mouth about anything negative towards you. Because it subconsciously affects your confidence, and I used to really work on this hard, and I've gotten to where I'm getting back to where I'm better at it again too. But just like, for instance, like if I'm getting ready to show and somebody comes up and says, "Hey, do good later" or something, I'm like, "I will." Yeah. Like, no, you don't say I'll try. Yeah. You don't say, we'll see. Yeah. It's I will.
Yeah. And I look at that as confidence, and other people look at that as arrogance. I don't give a shit. Well, to me, it's a winner.
And you know what? And if you don't do good, who fucking cares?
Yes.
But I'm telling you, for sure, if you practice that, like if in 2 weeks, if you'll practice that every time you say something about yourself, it's positive. You'll be amazed how much more confident you'll feel without even realizing it.
Yes.
How much more confident you'll feel in yourself when you go to do your job.
You ever read that book, Psycho-Cybernetics?
No.
Maxwell, something his name was. Phenomenal book. It basically says that the mind believes what you tell it.
Yeah.
Whenever you tell it, if you tell it you can't do it, you won't do it. If you tell it you can do it, you will do it. The mind is the most powerful animal in the world, which is your mind. A great book, Psycho-Cybernetics it's called. So, wrapping up here, any last words?
So just, a couple more things on the last question. So, find a good program, learn it, learn the basics. Always expect to win, but know there's going to be failures. And I hate to even call them failures. They're opportunities to get better.
Yes.
And that's part of it. To me, you never fail till you quit.
Yeah.
When you quit, you failed.
Love it.
But as long as you keep grinding it out, you'll eventually get to where you want to go. If you want it bad enough, you'll get there. So stick with it.
Ian Francis, you've never met Ian, but he's my mentor. He's won the cut and futurity twice in Australia, reserve champion twice, won the reign of futurity 5 times. On the bottom of my every email, he has his famous quote that I live by. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
If you don't, you'll find an excuse.
Yeah.
If you want it bad enough, you're going to find a way to get that done. If you want it bad enough, you'll grind. Yeah. Grind is a word that I think a lot of young people now, Matt, have bought into this new age bullshit that's bad.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as no grind.
No.
There was a book...
in the real world, not everybody don't get a trophy.
No. In the real world, there's no work balance.
No.
Everybody says, what about work-life balance? If you want to be number one, there is no work-life balance. I always said an expression, there's a price to be paid for success. If you want to be number one, there's a price to be paid. It's hours. Yeah. It's sacrifice. It's family. It's a lot of things that can get sacrificed, but you have to do it. There's a book I read, Lanny Basham, I think it was made by him. He interviewed like 100 Olympic gold medalists and about what it takes to be a winner. So you'd think if you're going to interview 100 gold medalists, that would be a good place to start. What does it take to be a winner in life? And one of the questions he said he was dumbfounded on is he said to each gold medalist, did you have natural talent at what you did? Did you feel like you had God-given talent? Not one person said yes.
Yeah.
Every one of them said, no, I don't have natural talent. And the next question was, well, how did you win a gold medal? The fucking grind.
Yeah.
I just worked harder. I wanted it more than everybody else. I tried harder than everybody else. Failure was not an option.
Yeah.
For me personally, coming to America, I came here with $400 in my pocket and a pair of boots and a snaffle bit. I don't come from rich family at all.
Yeah.
I had no plan B. I had to make it here.
Yeah.
This was it. There was no plan B. the fear of there's no plan B is healthy.
Yeah.
When my dad, the greatest advice my dad gave me when I walked out of the home at 15 and said, you don't get to come home.
Yeah.
That was important.
Yeah.
I think that was a very pivotal moment that I knew there was no plan B. Maybe I wouldn't have worked as hard, Matt, if I thought there was a plan B.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't have tried as hard.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's, I mean, like, nobody's ever born a champion in anything. That's earned.
You're damn right it is. And everybody has to do it, don't they?
Yes. And, you know, and there are no shortcuts.
Does
You've got, you know, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the time.
It doesn't matter what discipline, does it? It could be barrel racing, cutting, reining, cow horse, pleasure horses. I don't give a fuck if it's showing halter horses. You may not like the other sport that that's in the equine industry, but I promise you, whoever's number 1, 2, and 3, they've earned their right to be there.
I guarantee you. Yeah.
They haven't got it given to them.
100%.
You know.
100%. The last thing I'll say on your original question, if I get a little emotional, forgive me.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if I can say it.
That's all right.
But if you get an opportunity and you find a woman oh God, I don't know why I struggle with this.
Take another drink there, motherfucker.
That shares your passion for horses and loves you enough to be honest when it's hard, don't let that one get away.
Yeah. That's important. Tara's been a big part of your success, hasn't she?
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you sucked, she's told you can do better. When you were great, she told you could do better again, didn't she?
Yeah.
Hard to hear.
Don't get me wrong. There's some fights in there.
Oh hell yeah!
Because it's hard to hear you suck when you suck. But if you don't have somebody willing to tell you, you're gonna keep sucking.
I say it like this, okay? I think this can go to both genders, male and female. Okay. There's nothing better than a great woman in your life. A great woman will make a great man greater, and a bad woman will drag a great man down.
Man, yeah.
And it could go the other way too.
Yeah.
It's got to go.
100%.
A great man's got to be a great man to a great woman, but a great woman will do nothing but build you up, and a bad woman will do nothing but drag you the fuck down in life. And it's important to know the difference.
Yeah.
You know, and it can go both ways too. So I'm not just saying women; it could go the other way. A great woman will get drugged down by a bad piece of shit man.
Yeah. And I mean, and I got friends the same way. You know, I mean, like a good friend will always be honest with you.
Yeah.
Whether
you want to hear it or not.
Whether you want to hear it or not.
Yeah.
And you gotta have that. Like, there's plenty of people that'll tell you the bullshit you want to hear. You gotta hear the real stuff. Yeah. And because if you don't, you're not gonna stay on track. Yeah. You're not gonna get to where you want to go.
Yeah. I respect you for what you've done. I respect what you and Tara have done as a team. If you've noticed, anytime I give you credit, I always give Tara credit too. Yeah. Because she's as big as coach to me as you are, back in the warm-up pen. Hey, do this, do that, wear this. It's a team effort. Does that make sense? It's 100%. It's not all just you. It's you and her. And I try very hard.
Well, here's the thing. I couldn't do what I do without her. Mm-hmm. Like, and you've got to have somebody behind the scenes taking care of everything. Because I'm not. You're the kind of person, like, you can be doing one thing and see what's going on over here too and manage it too. And Tara's that way. I'm not that way. Like, I'm
so single focused.
Yeah, like I'm very focused on, like, and there's other trainers, like we'll be watching cows and they'll be talking to their help about getting the horse ready and stuff like that while they're watching cows. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to be like, you know what? Like, you get the damn horse ready, and if you don't do your job right, when I come out, I'm gonna tell you, like, look,
Yeah.
he needed to be more tired. But I can't watch what they're doing and be focused on my job at the same time. I can't. I have to be focused on what I'm doing. And when you're that type person, you've got to have somebody that's focused on, you know, how, like, are the horses healthy? Are they, like, is everything else good?
There's a whole team of people behind a winner, isn't there?
Yes, for sure. Nobody gets there on their own.
You got to remember, every trainer that's doing really well, I always look at their pit crew.
Yeah.
Who's their pit crew? Who's their assistant trainer?
Yeah.
You told me privately, and I don't know if I'll say it on camera, but fuck it, I'll say it. You told me the years that Clint was there, he was a hell of an asset.
Oh, man.
When he was your assistant trainer, that 8 years, you were kicking ass.
Yeah.
Because when you had a problem with the horse, you give it to Clint, he'd straighten that sumbitch out, give it back to you, and you can go win.
Yeah.
And you give him a lot of fucking credit. You've mentioned that to me a dozen times, how much that guy was an asset to your business as a young trainer up and coming. Was he the first real assistant that gave you that right-hand man attitude?
Yeah. I mean, he, and without a doubt, the best one I had, like, Craig Thompson worked for me for a while too, and I actually used to train some horses for Craig when I was in Mississippi there for a while. He was a non-pro, and but like he wasn't with me long enough to Clint was with me for 8 years, and and hell, he knew my program as good as I did by the time he left, and it was the job he did made my job so
much easier.
He made me look better than I was. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well,
and it's been a struggle ever since he left. Like, I mean, it's like when you have that person, like, it's hard to find that person.
I'll go as far as to say the groom is a professional job.
Yeah.
The groom who saddles and unsaddles and takes care of your horses. That's a professional job.
Yeah.
I got a German girl that takes care of my horses and saddles, unsaddles. She's a professional groom. Okay. I pay her $60,000 a year to do it. People freak out when they figure out that I pay $60,000 a year to a girl to saddle and unsaddle. But it's not that. It's so much more than that. She makes my life so easy and so stress-free that I don't have to worry about shit. She worries about those horses, their health, their care. Are they sleeping? Are they eating? Where are they at the horse show? Where do I have to be? Where do I have to go? What entry fees are done? It's people underestimate how important the pit crew is.
Here's the thing, and I think I think horse trainers are getting better about it, but like, especially horse trainers in my generation, like, everything we kind of learned early on was the cowboy way. But, like, when somebody comes to your place to look at a $200,000 horse, when it comes out of the stall, it needs to look like one.
You're damn right.
And you got to have somebody there that's paying attention to that to make sure that they do.
It's clipped up. It's bathed. It looks good. It's ready to go. It's clean shaven. When you got to the ranch at 7 o'clock, I said to the girl that trained your 2-year-old, I said, Matt will be on time. He will not be late. You need to be at that barn at 5:30. I want that stall cleaned. I want fresh shavings in that fucking stall. I want to make sure that horse is bathed the night before. I want to make sure it's clipped the night before. I know these cutters, they don't fucking clip shit. I don't give a fuck. Clip this motherfucker up.
Yeah.
Make sure it looks good. Make sure when they walk into his stall, it looks like a goddamn halter horse. Clean the stall your personal self. We only get one chance to impress.
Yeah.
There's only one first impression. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
You don't. I understand they're horse trainers. They'll know the stalls are going to get cleaned at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, he's been shitting in it from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. next morning. Clean it before they get there. Make sure the stall's clean. Make sure everything's ready to go. It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very.
You only get one impression.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Yep.
Cheers to you, Matt.
Yep, thank you.
I'm proud of you. Thank you for everything you do for me.
No, thank you.
I know I probably drive you fucking nuts, you poor motherfucker. I probably drive you nuts, and I feel bad for you at times because sometimes I feel bad. I said to my girl Lexi, I said, how'd it go with Matt? And I said, that poor motherfucker probably wants to shoot me. He repeats the same shit over and over, and I maybe I'm going to get it, maybe I don't, but I sure appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking the time with me.
Actually, I enjoy it, and honestly, like, when I'm helping somebody like you, like it makes me better too, because like you'd be amazed how many times I'm telling you something, and while I'm telling you that, I'm thinking, well, you're not doing that either. You're doing something.
Well, I hope you're getting something out of it. You're not getting rich off me, so I sure hope I'm helping you somewhere or other. Cheers, brother.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers,
Thank
mate.
you.
Good deal. Today's episode was filmed and produced by Uncut Productions, marketing by Stewart & Associates, and organised and administrated by Down Under Horsemanship. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit the subscribe button and leave a rating. Follow us and stay up to date on social media, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. See you next time, mate. Cheers.